It's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope, and we still believe.
Recapping the top story, the case against 3 people accused of murdering an e-hailing driver in Pretoria has been postponed to next Monday for further investigations in the Pretoria Magistrates Court. I'm Mondalambana for SFM News Headlines at 12:30.
Update at noon, midday to 1 p.m. You're listening to Bongiwe Zwane on SAFM.
Thank you very much, Ondela. We'll catch up with you when you bring us the headlines. Lots to get through, right? There is, of course, that case that has, it's the story been leading the headlines of the 3 who have been arrested in connection with the killing of an e-hailing driver. Very horrific video, that many woke up to on social media. And they appeared before the Atteridgeville Magistrates Court today, with the matter now having been postponed. They've abandoned their bail application. There's also the Tonga Hewlett story and the filing for provisional liquidation. This after failing to secure funds from the IDC. Lots of concerns about what this is going to do as far as jobs are concerned, because how many people rely on this company for employment. And for example, in KwaZulu-Natal already, the MEC for Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs saying that local production contributes nearly 19 billion rand to the national economy, and saying that he's concerned about what this is going to have as far as the sugar industry is concerned around the country, and what then will this mean for an economy that is hoping to grow jobs. There's also the Nkabinde inquiry, which resumes, and of course it continues to probe the fitness to hold office of the former director of public prosecutions in fact, the suspended director of public prosecutions that is in Gauteng, in fact, and that would be the advocate Andrew Chauke. There's been a lot of talk about this one. So today, a new witness coming on and really looking to see as to whether or not there is a case that can be made as far as, his fitness to hold office is concerned. And then the Matlanga Commission, you've heard, it's been postponed to the 18th, and this is because the witness F, who was meant to give testimony today, could not do so because he's been hospitalized, and now we do know that his testimony has been moved to March after a request by his lawyers. And he had, of course, had started to give his testimony to the commission. He is a witness whose identity has been concealed and has been, of course, taking the commission through some of his own version of events as far as some of the allegations leveled even against him are concerned. We'll also be then looking at the world leaders that were gathering in Munich in Germany to look at issues around global security. And there's been, of course, a lot happening as far as this one, with a different kind of message from the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. So we'll talk about all these and more.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. Easy to apply, no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's 48031. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Bongiwe Zwane on SAFM.
Now, the South African Farmers Development Association has expressed serious concern after Tongaat Hewlett filed for provisional liquidation. This comes after Tongaat Hewlett's failure to secure funding from the IDC and the lapse of its sale agreement with Vision Sugar. South African Farmers Development Association says the move threatens the livelihoods of thousands of small-scale sugarcane farmers in KwaZulu-Natal who supply the company's 3 mills at Maidstone, Amatikulu, as well as Felixton. Now, let's speak to Dr. Siyabonga Madlala, Executive Chair at the South African Farmers Development Association. Good day to you, and thank you so much for your time, sir. Firstly, let's just start with the impact of this development.
Good day, Bongi, and the listeners of SAFM. Thank you for having us. I must say that just the message that Tongaat Hewlett is going to provisional liquidation is sending shockwaves that are actually unnecessary but scary. In that, when I say unnecessary, I mean in the context that having engaged the senior call it CEO of Vision Group, even senior officials within ITC, and even our Minister of Trade and Industry, they are asking for a calm, that we should actually preach a message of calm, because there will be a solution. But of course, just that message is scary. I mean, a company going into provisional liquidation to other people means closure of mills, closure of the business. I am of the view that we are not there yet, and I believe with everything I've got that every leader and sanity will prevail in that every leader involved in this will protect the livelihoods of tens of thousands of farmers, as well as the livelihoods of employees and people who actually depend on the sugar industry, amounting over 200,000 in terms of the reach of how many people get supported by this industry. So I yes.
Pardon me for coming in there. And it'll be important, right, for a solution to be found, because, I mean, I think about how deeply embedded this industry is in our rural economy. And as someone who comes from a rural area, I think about the just how much of the livelihoods could be impacted by this. So it is imperative that a solution is found here.
Bongi, I don't know how it is that we ended up getting to here, because when the process of business rescue started, it was clear that there were clear mandates given to the respective players that are there to save this industry. I must say, IDC then we were in plans of putting up a proposal for a mill in Makatini, and we had to put that on hold, just so that IDC can focus its energies and focus its resources towards rescuing Tongaat. And I believe IDC is still equally committed. I mean, having engaged them, they are still equally committed towards finding a solution. It's just a timing factor that between the PRPs and Vision, there was the deal could not be finalized until the time lapsed, and between the two parties, there was no agreement on an extension, and therefore forced the company to liquidation, which I still think it's still a corporate war, I will call it that way, that somewhere, somehow, they must find each other there. But the bottom line is every leader engaged in this matter, you get the same commitment that no one will allow for this company to go under and physically close shop. Indeed, we've been assured that even farmers are going to get paid end of March, their monies, because there's retentions held by the miller, but also employees have been paid, and contractors are working on site to prepare the mills for the opening in March. So it's in April. So we believe that work is still continuing. It's just unfortunate that obviously the statement provisional liquidation to others just scares them off. The banks, I mean, our farmers are crying that the banks are also withholding some of their loans because they're saying now, hey, looks like we are going into a risky space. There are farmers who are actually buying trucks, getting ready for the season, and their loans are now held in abeyance or in suspense.
So are you saying that, as you say, this is a corporate war? Can I interpret that as you are saying someone is trying to force someone's hand here who has been possibly slow when it comes to moving?
May I not be quoted directly saying that, because I want to tread carefully on this, because some of the discussions are held in confidence between the parties, and where I said I'm not giving any right to actually divulge much, but I can say this in the context that amongst all the parties, if you're hearing the word commitment that no one is going to let these mills shut down, clearly it means that there are some strings that are being pulled here and there to get, the deal across, maybe quicker or maybe at lower and not excessive payments to others. So to me, it's a question of, a chess game that is played carefully. But I am again saying it's unfortunate that we are, scaring the crowd on the ground, which doesn't know what's at play. But again, I'm not thinking it's a game. It's business. It's very sensitive. But I'm calling on caution that it cannot be to the detriment of our farmers. And so I do believe that everyone knows what's at stake and what's the worst case scenario, because it could actually set KwaZulu-Natal on fire.
And as a final one then, what do you say to the over 15,000 small-scale growers who could be affected, who are now panicking, and as you say that it won't get to that point, but they're sitting there saying, what happens now? The bank is not wanting to come on board. How should I be viewing this? What's your message to them?
I think everyone knows what's at stake. So when I say everyone knows, ministers, the president, the business rescue practitioners, the vision group, even our royal chancellor is aware of it. Our own the Majesty King, Mrs. Ulinjulamiti, is summoned everyone to say, let's get a solution to this. So I would implore our small scale growers and even the employees of Tonga Twiles to remain calm. I call for calm, and I do believe that level heads will prevail, and indeed a solution will be found. We are part of the discussions. We are really engaged, even ourselves as SAFTA, at the highest levels that there can be. In fact, we are hoping that the message as where before end of this week there will be a response from the presidency, the ministers, as well as the very same giants there at localities at the moment to respond to this. And we have engaged the office of the royal chancellor to see that how can we summon these groups together so that they can give a solution to our farmers. Yes, I'm calling for calm, but I would rather that calm message is directly reiterated by our ministers as well as our the big giants that are at localities at the moment.
Dr. Matlala, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That was Dr. Siyabonga Matlala, the Executive Chair at the South African Farmers Development Association.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 105.6 FM in Palabora. SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365. Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za. You're listening to Bongiwe Zwane on SAFM.
The Democratic Alliance is leading a protest rally today in Nelson Mandela-based northern areas outside Gelverdale police station. Now, the party says it demands urgent priority action against what they call rampant gang violence and drug-dealing gangs that have turned communities into war zones. Now, the DA's Northern Areas constituency leader, Yusuf Kasim, says residents feel abandoned after President Cyril Ramaphosa announced in his State of the Nation address the deployment of the military to support police and fighting gang violence, but only in the Western Cape and in Gauteng. Let's now speak to the DA's Northern Areas constituency leader, Yusuf Kasim. A very good day to you, and thank you so much for your time. Firstly, before we even get into the call that you've made for the army to come there and which you say you're being snubbed on, firstly, let's just describe for us what the situation is like on the ground as far as this gang violence is concerned.
Thank you very much, Bongi, and to your listeners as well. Our communities in the northern areas and in other gang affected areas of Nelson Mandela Bay are literal war zones. If you walk through our communities on a daily basis, there are running gunfights, and we have loss of life taking place every single day. And this is not a new issue. You will recall that in 2024, we led a community march to the Galvindale police station, the same location where we gathered today, after the brutal and tragic murder of 3-year-old, just 3 years old, Emilio Hutchinson. He was gunned down in his home in Helenvale. And at the time, we handed over a petition. We took that petition all the way through the parliamentary processes. I personally presented to the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee of Police on the gang violence in the northern areas. And Parliament thereafter adopted a report which compelled the police minister to do certain things, to increase the capacity of the anti-gang unit, which currently only has 7 operational vehicles for over 185 visible policing AGU members, to increase the capacity of crime intelligence and the overall capacity of SAPS in order for them to do their work. So this is not a new occurrence, and none of those resolutions were implemented. And despite the acting minister, Feroz Kachelia, visiting Nelson Mandela Bay in January, just in the last month, and making comments, it's just like lip service, to the effect he said, well, the gang violence here mirrors the gang violence in the Western Cape. Our communities feel as if we get these visits, there are all of these commitments, there are decisions taken by Parliament, yet nothing happens. And for the President to again ignore the plight of our communities is the ultimate slap in their face.
And when you talk about, the slap in the face, and I want us to speak to, the issue at hand and how the people will feel. Because surely if there's like 7 cars as you describe it, that's untenable. It's untenable because at times you find that not even all those cars are working. And you find that not even each and every single officer is working. Some of them might not be at work. So what difference are the communities, the differences that the communities are hoping this will make, the deployment of the army could make when it comes to putting a dent of what you've just described for us?
I think the first thing to acknowledge is that deployment of the military is not going to solve the issue. However, when you have a war zone and when you are under siege and you're confined to your home whilst the criminals are essentially utilizing your community as their war zone, as their playground, bringing in the military will stabilize the situation, and it would provide space for other law enforcement agencies to do their work. At the very least, it can root out the substances and the illegal firearms that are flowing as easily as any other commodity into our communities. And therefore, it can play a role in stabilization. However, as part of our memorandum that we handed over today, we didn't only call for Nelson Mandela Bay and the gang-affected areas of Nelson Mandela Bay to be included in the military deployment. We have also demanded that the President compels Acting Minister Feroz Kachelia to implement the decisions of Parliament. Parliament has taken decisions, and those decisions cannot just simply be ignored with impunity. And those decisions included the acknowledgement of the abnormal crime situation in Nelson Mandela Bay. We are the murder capital of the country. And it compelled the minister to increase the capacity of law enforcement agencies and their specialized units so that we can start to move the needle, investigate better, and put these criminals behind bars, but also to be able to dismantle the criminal networks and the gang networks that have become entrenched in our communities.
Yeah, and you make such a compelling argument there, because a lot of us have been saying, and a lot of people watching the space are saying, if you can't stop the proliferation there is no point in putting a band-aid over an issue that needs urgent addressing. But thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Nelson Mandela Bay's Northern Areas constituency leader, Yusuf Kasim, speaking to us about how some of the communities there in the Nelson Mandela Bay area, the northern areas, this is outside Galvindale police station, they are protesting, calling for the army to also be deployed to their areas in order for them to be able to be safer from some of the gangs that have plagued the area.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 105.8 FM in Knysna. Update at noon, midday to 1 p.m.
And you'd remember that one of the stories that we've been tracking is the 3 suspects in the e-hailing murder case who've abandoned their bail application and are now due back in court next week. And police saying that the driver was hijacked, overpowered inside his vehicle after picking up 2 passengers, a man and a woman, who had requested the ride. The hijacked vehicle and the driver's body later found in Attridgeville on the same day. And there has been, of course, a lot of focus on this particular story and the safety of e-hailing drivers as well, also coming into the spotlight with this particular issue, and with the family of the young man saying that, in fact, they are heartbroken. He was, someone that was, for them, really loved what he was doing, but also saying that he was due to graduate, and really heartbroken about what happened here. But also at the same time, it also speaks about the crime situation in the country, and you've seen even some of the protesters outside court as they were baying for blood, calling for justice here in this particular matter. So there's going to be a lot of focus on this particular story, a horrific video. Some managed to watch it. I couldn't. Quite difficult to watch that video, and has been circulating on social media. And the police then making the arrests over the weekend and culminating into the appearance of these suspects in court. So it's 12:30. Let's take the headlines. We'll be back straight after.
Thank you, Bongi. On the news headlines, suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya is expected to appear before the Madlanga Commission on Wednesday. A case against 3 people accused of murdering an e-hailing driver in Pretoria has been postponed to next Monday for further investigations in the Pretoria Magistrates Court, and disruptions have been reported at airports across Kenya after aviation workers began a go-slow in a dispute over pay. The country's main airport in Nairobi has been heavily affected, with flights delayed for hours. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
All right, let's speak to Zimele Mbanjwa, investment analyst at FNB Wealth and Investment. Zimele, good day to you. How are things looking on the markets front?
Good day, Bongi. Thank you for having me. Today, today's focus will mostly be on the local market, as the international markets are closed for trading in China, in the US, in South Korea. So you're not getting much of an international read across. But the JSE today up pretty strongly, straight from the opening auction. Positive movements driven mostly by the financials sector. The performance there is being led by the insurance counters, the financiers, and some real estate. We also had a positive T-bill auction with the SARB, which seems to have went very well. So that has supported some flows. Ultimately, we've also seen positive movements by the rand, currently trading at 15 rand 94 to the dollar, 21.75 to the pound, and 18.91 to the euro. All step up in movement or appreciation from the rand. But looking at the other major sectors, industrials are also up a modest 0.31%, as well as resources always participating in the upward movements. There we are also up 0.46%. And as far as company news, we've seen some positive movements from the companies that have released results or trading statements today. Early in the morning, we got AECI, the chemicals trading company. They performed really well. Their stock price is currently up over 6%, driven primarily by strong recovery in their mining division. They've also been going through some restructuring, so they did close some of those managed businesses. They weren't really performing, so we also saw a reduction in financing costs. We saw strong EBITDA uplift of more than 15%. This came against lower volumes and revenue, at least in the mining division, but we still saw some challenges in some of the other divisions, particularly specialty and industrial chemicals. But we also got a trading statement from Telkom, also very early in the morning. Telkom is also up over 4%. Again, also the market reacting very positively to that result, driven, and Telkom was releasing their third quarter results, that is, and ACEI, by the way, was releasing full year results. So Telkom third quarter driven by strong data-led growth, and which is carrying on from the theme that we've seen earlier in the year. Group data rising some 9.6%, mobile data revenue surged some 12.9%, and fiber-related data revenue increased some 8.9%. So group revenue, group EBITDA also grew some 8.4%, driven by some cost optimizations. I suppose a more demanding, base last year, so they had lower impairments this time around. Also some disciplined capital deployment here and there, as well as their mobile expansion efforts. Just looking at commodities quickly, gold is still above that $5,000 per ounce mark. Silver also a bit softer today. Trading has been thin. As I said, Chinese and the US markets are expected to be closed today, so there's not much really that's moving. So perhaps some profit taking is happening here and there. I think just the focus this week will be on the US economic numbers. There'll be release of the Federal Reserve's meeting minutes from January. I think that will also just create some color with their interest rate trajectory, which has been relatively hard to read these days with the different economic indicators coming out. We'll also be receiving some PCE price index data for December from the US, which is the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, which will also pretty much be driving that view that we have. Also, what we've seen from an oil perspective, oil has softened today ahead of the US-Iran talks. The expectation is that there won't be any supply disruptions if the US and Iran come to some kind of a good deal. I think that's the market so far today.
Thank you so much, Zimela. Appreciate it. Zimela Mbanjwa, the investment analyst at FNB Wealth and Investment. All right, time now to...
You're listening to Bongiwe Zwane on SAFM.
All right, time now to hear from you, what you have to say about some of our stories.
Afternoon, Bongi. Zuma thinks he's the god of ANC in South Africa. He's using money, easy come, easy go, thinking of missing the first category funeral. Crime in this country will not be controlled because prisons are hotels and universities. People are bribed at the borders, at the airports, at the harbors. Corruption is everywhere, even in courts. So we'll never control crime because of that. Thank you, Bongi.
Good day, Sisakina. Bongo Sondisa Mbuisa. Yes, Sisakina. I'm one of the people who are canvassing for the deployment of the soldiers, more especially in the Western Cape. But it seems as if they are coming in a huge price. It's too expensive to deploy them. Why can't they employ maybe more police officers? Because now this is a temporary solution. Maybe after 6 months, they will need to return back to their bases and then work there. then again the criminals will start all over. They are not going to be there permanently. So it's just a temporary solution. Then what's going to happen after that? They would rather employ more police officers. Thanks, Isaac.
Good afternoon, Sister Bongiwe. Isaac Macholo. You know, sometimes I ask myself, what is a suspect? What is a suspect in this kind of matters of e-hailing driver who was killed last week? Those people who were arrested, they are no longer suspect. They are the criminals who were not even supposed to be asked about the guiltiness of their criminality. So what is a suspect when it comes to the people who have done things like that? And we see these people are no longer suspect, but are perpetrators. Good afternoon, this is Matebo.
Ntate Mathebula, yeah, I hear you, but remember there are laws, I guess, so we now need to follow. For example, the Criminal Procedure Act is also clear on, the fact that there is, of course, the provision of innocence until proven guilty. So the onus now, especially when you think about the schedule of this crime and them having abandoned their bail application, could tell us some kind of indication here, because it's one would say it's a Schedule 6 offense, and the onus would have been on them to tell the court why the court must release them on bail. So let's wait to see what happens with this particular matter. But as you say, even with evidence of video and all of that, those who are crime experts will tell you that you simply cannot rely on that. You still need a whole process in court. Depending on how things go, then you'll be able to at least get to finality on that particular matter.
Have you discovered the TV license WhatsApp yet? We see you binging reruns, living for the drama, loving the SABC Plus sports replays. Now, paying your TV license fits the vibe. Simply say hi on WhatsApp to 077 6069 060. Get your balance, make a payment, or set up a debit order all in one chat. No queues, no please hold, just convenience that feels like it should have been here all along. Because every screen in South Africa is a stage and yours is lit. So why wait? Send hi on WhatsApp to 077 6069 060 and get your TV license sorted today. Hashtag your screen, your story.
Whether it is a CCMA referral, problems with a mechanic, unfair blacklisting, or an uncontested divorce, Clientele Legal offers professional legal services to all South Africans. Our plans are affordable, and you receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. We cover civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Our nationwide legal teams are standing by to support you 24 hours a day. Plus, all plans include a 5,000 rand bail benefit. Join today. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Bongiwe Zwane on SAFM.
All right, let's take you back to this. 3 suspects in the e-hailing case have abandoned bail and are due back in court next week. Police say the driver was hijacked and overpowered inside his vehicle after picking up 2 passengers, a man and a woman who had requested a ride, and the hijacked vehicle, as well as the driver's body, later found in Atteridgeville on the same day. Let's now speak to our reporter, Nonhlanhla Mthabela. Nonhlanhla, good day to you, and thank you so much for your time. Any reasons why they decided to abandon bail?
Afternoon, Bongi, to the listeners at home. Well, for now, it's not clear, but what we do know is that they are being represented by the legal aid because they didn't have their own representatives. And so it's something that we're going to hear going forward on the 23rd because the case was postponed to that date.
And talk to us about the court proceedings, right? Who was in attendance?
Well, it was a short proceedings, but what I can tell you that people came out in numbers, his family, his friends, and also the Tshwane E-Hailing Association and other e-hailing drivers from Johannesburg who came to support Isaac and his family through this difficult time. And when we spoke to some of the family members, they said that they wish that these three cannot be granted bail. And we do understand that there's also one suspect who is still on the lookout, meaning there were 4 suspects in this incident.
What do we know about the suspects?
What they know, well, it's allegedly that the female suspect and one of the male suspects, they were in a relationship, and that's how they managed to get through this whole thing. But that's still to be confirmed by the police or in court when we go back. That's what we heard outside court when people were talking, and also some of the family members, that's what they told us.
And let's talk about the family members. What have they said for them? Because obviously this is a difficult time.
Exactly, Bongiwe. When he spoke to Isaac's uncle, he did mention that, for one, they are happy with what the police have done, because we remember that this incident happened a week ago on Wednesday, and now 3 suspects have been apprehended. And so they really did commend the police for doing their work. And also they do hope that these 3 suspects cannot be granted bail, obviously. And also they did mention that they'll be raising funds, trying to create some fundraising here and there, just so they can transport Isaac's body to Nigeria, because Isaac was the only source of income that they had. And they also did mention that he was studying and he was due to graduate next month.
Heartbreaking story. Thank you so much for your time. Our reporter there, Nontantla, bringing us the very latest as far as this story is concerned, with 3 suspects now in the e-hailing murder case abandoning their bail application. Police are saying they're looking for the 4th one. So we'll continue then to bring you up to speed with this particular story.
Update at noon, midday to 1 p.m.
Bongiwe Zwane on SAFM.
Eastern Cape farmers are calling for an accelerated sourcing and distribution of foot-and-mouth vaccine as they count their losses and possible crippling of their pockets due to the outbreak, which has now been pronounced a national disaster. Since recording the first case of the virus, small-scale farmers say they have been panicking of a possible shutdown of the market and the drying out of their pockets due to their inability to make a living from their cattle. The farmers fear that their reliance on vaccines produced solely by the Agricultural Research Council might slow down the pace with which the vaccines come to their regions. Here's a report by Hlumisa Qabaka.
The foot-and-mouth vaccine is likely to reach farmers only next month, a reality that triggers anxious anticipation for most. The farmers claim widespread awareness campaigns are pointless without expedited efforts to distribute vaccine, and that limited cattle movement has enormous financial impact. Small village farmers such as Mhlobo Mbane, who is a member of the African Farmers Association of South Africa, fear that the prolonged method planned by government will arrive late as they are already seeing job and cattle loss.
We are already panicking. Definitely now we'll have to fork out a lot of money buying vaccines whilst we're still waiting for government to actually supply. Now there's a supply or manufacturing that is happening in ARC, although it's not something that is actually huge. So we are worried about the capacity until government actually engage to sit down and have a clear plan on how we're going to do it, the monitoring.
Meanwhile, other farmers are concerned that the country is still lacking in the production of vaccines, while others fear that the inability to trade might result in retrenchment, among other things, an unneeded dent to the economy. Dairy farm manager Nkoseli Mabunga says the slow movement of the distribution of the vaccine could lead to farmers buying from the black market.
This FMD is something that has been there for the longest time. We are being aware about it, and it's a very big risk in terms of the food and in terms of the food security. And for now, up to this point, that we don't have got a vaccination is something which is very surprising. And I'm very pleased to the authority on the hierarchy in terms of let's speed up in terms of getting the vaccination to stop this.
The provincial government says while it continues to provide all the necessary support to affected farmers, it awaits national government's lead on issuing of the vaccine. MEC for Agriculture in the Eastern Cape, Nongceba Khontsiwe, continues to call upon farmers to continue monitoring the outbreak and quarantine livestock that has been affected.
Vaccination distribution remains the responsibility of the National Department of Agriculture. To date, the province has received 2,600 of the vaccines. We have prioritized high-risk areas to safeguard food security and milk production. The vaccine will be distributed to the province and we will intensify vaccination across the province, targeting priority and high-risk areas.
The African Farmers Association of South Africa says a collaboration with the law enforcement agencies is essential to ensure containment of this disease. Hlumisa Qabaka, SABC News, Alice.
For 90 years, one voice has informed, challenged, and connected a nation. SAFM, South Africa's national English public radio station. Established in 1936 as the SABC's very first service, the A program, evolving through the English service, Radio South Africa, to SAFM in 1995, shaping thought and strengthening democracy. From a full-spectrum station to a trusted home of news and talk, SAFM continues to lead the conversations 90 years strong. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. You are listening to The Full Circle,
a space where generations come together in conversation that seek to spark curiosity, inspire innovation, and feed the curious mind. For arts, culture, and robust conversations, join me every weekday between 1 and 3 p.m. on The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga as we explore the stories, lessons, and conversations that guide us back to self.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 104.6 FM in Kimberley.
You're listening to Bongiwe Zwane on SAFM.
Now, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has moved to reassure European leaders at the Security Conference in Munich in Germany that Washington remains committed to the transatlantic alliance. World leaders have wrapped up 2 days of talks at the 62nd Munich Security Conference. Discussions focused on the war in Ukraine, conflicts in Sudan and Syria, and growing uncertainty over relations between the United States and Europe amid concerns that shared democratic values may be under strain. Rubio struck a markedly more conciliatory tone than last year's address. You'd remember when J.D. Vance was emphasizing partnership over division. And there was, of course, remember that time when J.D. Vance was signaling that there is a new path that the U.S. is charting, and it seemed to be almost like a move that was further widening what some were viewing as the gap between the U.S. and its European counterparts. At the same time, now, when you're looking at what Marco Rubio is saying, it seems that there might be a realization of the importance of Europe. And I mean, he went as far as saying that the United States and Europe belong together. Interesting. So now let's speak to political and international studies lecturer at Rhodes University. That's Dr. Thapedi Tselapedi. Doc, good day to you and thank you so much for your time. It was interesting to hear the Secretary of State saying that the United States and Europe belong together. What do you think drove that?
Hi, and hi to your listeners. Thank
you. My apologies. Tapelo, Dr. Tapelo Tselapedi. My apologies. Yes. Thank you so much. Please go ahead.
No problem. Look, I mean, it's not really surprising given the Mark Carney's comments a few weeks ago towards the end of January, when he was effectively threatening the unity of the transatlantic partnership. And what we're seeing now is the outward manifestation of really behind the scenes campaigning about how then should the transatlantic alliance position itself vis-a-vis the emerging global order. That's quite clear in my mind. And I think the United States is seeing that Canada is quite an important player, and that they can't go at it alone without a strong EU, of course. Of course, all of this is also in their security strategy document that was released not too long ago. So I don't think the comments were surprising in the need to emphasize that relationship.
So when you look at it, and I want to expand a bit on something that you've said there, because it was going to be the next question to say that, is this a United States that is realizing that, we can't do this alone and all of that, but can that same mentality, in your view, expand to other avenues beyond this agreement?
Well, I'm not sure what you have in mind in terms of beyond that agreement, but what we've been seeing through the Trump administration is a reactive expansionist thinking on the part of the American government. Of course, we saw the discussion around Greenland. We saw the actions in Venezuela. But of course, the security document, what it's talking about is having United States retreating from certain aspects in other parts of the world, but having the partners, e.g. Japan, European Union, be a lot more stronger to be able to further their own objectives in that region. So it's not necessarily a retrenchment of the United States as such, but it's asking that its partners be a lot more stronger to be able to project the empire that the West has been since 1945. So what the United States has done is merely, in my view, react, saying that, well, really, this is the original plan. We don't want to forego this transatlantic partnership. But like I said, I think this is a conversation that largely is happening among Western society, and it's not a conversation that is global, in my view. And I think the Global South has to be mindful of that.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah.
so if the Global South is then mindful of that, how does it process it? Does it simply ignore it, or does it pay attention to it, but with some degree of caution?
Definitely have to pay attention to the conversation that's happening in the West, and definitely have to pay caution. If you look at the comments, that were made by, Marco Rubio, it's effectively saying that the United States wants to go back to the whole might is right mentality that we saw during, colonial times and imperial times. And I don't think that may be the case with some of the EU partners, but certainly given the standing ovation, given the warm welcome or the reception that he got from his speech, of course, one would not be wrong to assume that those words have landed on fertile ground. But I do think that there would be pushback to some of those comments. But I think the Global South has to be very wary what Marco Rubio has said in terms of their own sovereignty, in terms of their own development and how they see their own development. Importantly, what China has done for the Global South and those who are interested players still within the Global North is said that, well, we don't have to have this form of capitalism. We don't have to have this form of government, of the state and development, that there are different ways of organizing societies. This is what China's done in terms of its rise, its global influence. It's allowed other countries to think about different ways of organizing their development and organizing their government. And that's quite important. And I think what the US is also saying is that, well, all of these, liberation movements, all of these, the Soviets, the communists, the post-colonial societies have really impeded what the West has tried to do. And what the West has tried to do is say that there's only one way of organizing society, one way of organizing development, and this must not be threatened. And I think for me, this disconnect is where the rubber hits.
And I suppose this particular disconnect has been quite clear. But when I read what you've written about this particular story, it's such an interesting article, and especially when you look at the weakening. The apparent weakening of the post-war global order, and what would be and has been the impact of that in your view?
Look, I mean, the weakening of the United States at the social level in terms of the inability of them to make sure that American society coheres around a common project. Two, the financial inability of the United States in terms of government and the debt to GDP that is quite problematic. That, in my view, has formed what we're seeing in terms of the weakening of the post-war order, because largely the post-war order has been kept strong by the strength of the United States, and the strength of the United States has really hinged on the transatlantic partnership. So that's what we must understand when we sort of see this unraveling that's happening. The implications of that is that when you look at the security strategy of the United States, they're quite clearly retrenching from Southeast Asia. They're moving away from that bloc physically. Of course, they may have proxies in the form of Japan, maybe Australia, and some other countries. But what we're quite clearly seeing is that they're not able to project the sort of power they have been doing so, in fact, since 2000, we can say. And that's one way of seeing it. Two, we can see at an economic front, they're not able really, in my view, to compete with China. We saw this through the trade embargoes, them trying to limit, in fact, the development and influence of China. And that's not quite possible. If you saw also with the interview now at Munich by the secretary, he was saying that effectively they know that the relationship with China is quite important because they're seeing that if there's any wrong or disagreement, and the disagreement spills into war or political differences, they've got to be able to manage that so that it doesn't spill over into other regions negatively. And I think that's what China has been saying for a long time, that we need to talk as two countries that are that big to be able to manage the global order. So I think that the United States is quite well aware of that diminished power globally and in very significant pockets of the world. Remember, sorry for speaking so long, remember, Southeast Asia is quite important. It's an engine of growth in terms of global development and global growth. So that's quite an important area right now that's making all, in different parts of the economies to be able to also grow in terms of imports and exports there. So everybody wants a piece of that pie. And the U.S. is aware of that.
And one wonders if the pie is big enough. Doc, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Dr. Thapelo Tselapedi, a political and international studies lecturer at Rhodes University. It's 1:00 and it's time now for us to wrap up the show. Thank you so much for joining us. The news coming up next. Ondela Mbana is on standby.
Thank you, Bongi and the team. On the top stories, Commission Sibiya to appear before the Madlanga Commission and e-hailing driver murder case postponed to Monday. For SAFM News, I am Ondela Mbana, and a very good day. Suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya is expected to appear before the Madlanga Commission on Wednesday. The commission was postponed this morning after Witness F was hospitalized. Witness F and other witnesses has linked Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya to attempted murder accused Vusumuzi Ket Matlala. Evidence leader Matthew Cheskelson presented the application for postponement before the commission.
Witness F has been hospitalized and is not available today. There is an application for postponement. The medical certificate on the last page of that application, Annexure I-2, records that Witness F will not be available at least until 25th February. And the earliest available date that we have after 25th February would be 16th March.
The case against 3 people accused of murdering an e-hailing driver in Pretoria has been postponed to next Monday for further investigations in the Pretoria Magistrates Court. The accused, including a woman, face charges of carjacking and murder. They are alleged to have killed the driver after he responded to a trip request in Pretoria West before his body and hijacked vehicle were found in Atteridgeville. Police confirmed that the investigations are continuing as authorities search for a 4th suspect believed to be linked to the killing. Magistrate Christopher Chokwe ordered that the case be postponed. Accused number 2 in the Senzo Meyiwa trial, Bongani Ndazi, insisted he did not admit to his alleged involvement in the murder of the Bafana captain. Ndazi is back on the witness stand at the High Court in Pretoria, where he is on trial with 4 of his co-accused. The 5 men have been charged with the 2014 murder of Meyiwa, who was shot and killed in Vosloorus on Gauteng's East Rand. It is alleged that Ndazi made 2 confession statements following his arrest in June 2020. Responding to his defense counsel Sipora Musipile, Ndanzi says he did not admit to the investigators on his role in the contract killing.
Were you approached by any of the members of the cold case unit and told you that they've determined that you are somehow involved, and did you agree?
No.
And
no, my lord.
And further, the answer that is recorded goes as follows. I was asked questions at the police station which I would agree with or admit.
No, my lord, there's nothing that I agreed to or admitted to the police.
The Road Accident Fund says the Pretoria High Court was wrong in its judgment to allow undocumented foreign nationals to claim from the fund. Advocate Kennedy Tsatsawane has told the Supreme Court of Appeal that the judgment contradicts South Africa's Immigration Act, which does not allow anyone to enter the country illegally. He says the amendments made on the form to establish the accident victim's location during the crash following a ministerial directive in 2020 are just.
Firstly, the accident must have happened inside the Republic. And the only way in which the fund will know whether or not the person claiming, if they are a foreigner, were inside the Republic is to ask for this information that must now be provided in the form. Because unless you ask, were you in the Republic, you will never know that this person was inside the Republic. So you must ask. And how do you prove that? You produce a copy of your passport that shows you entered the Republic on this particular date.
The bid to consider the national interest as a criteria in prosecuting apartheid-era perpetrators was simply to protect members of the ANC that were refused amnesty by the TRC. This is the assertion made by Lukhanyo Qalata, who is continuing his testimony at the TRC cases inquiry, which is sitting for its 4th day today in Newtown, Johannesburg. Qalata was speaking on behalf of the families of victims, including his father, who was part of the Craddock 4 brutally murdered by the security branch in 1985. The NPA extended the criteria for non-prosecution with an amendment in 2005 to include national interest, the degree of remorse and level of indoctrination of perpetrators, amongst others.
The people who were then sitting in the room claiming national interest would have been doing so to try to protect themselves and perhaps their comrades from those kinds of repercussions or those kinds of prosecutions. So to ensure that their friends and their comrades and their people were not prosecuted, decisions were then taken in the national interest to say, but we can't proceed with prosecuting Eric Taylor, because if we prosecute Eric Taylor, we might then be forced in a position to prosecute one of the ANC 37.
Disruptions have been reported at airports across Kenya after aviation workers began a go-slow in a dispute over pay. The country's main airport in Nairobi has been heavily affected, with flights delayed for hours. The Kenya Civil Aviation Authority say they're in talks with labour unions after a court blocked a planned strike last week. Recapping the top story, suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya is expected to appear before the Madlanga Commission on Wednesday. I am Ondela Mbana for SAFM News Headlines at 1:30.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM. As the nation seeks answers, SAFM brings you live, uninterrupted coverage of Parliament's Ad Hoc Committee investigating allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. You can also stay up to date with the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into Criminality, Political Interference and Corruption in the Criminal Justice System. Stay informed, stay connected. Tune in live on SAFM 104 to 107 and follow the coverage across our digital platforms live on Facebook, X and YouTube at SAFM Radio. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
talented Tandintuli coming through Standard Bank Young Artist for Jazz. I think it was 2018, 2019, I stand to be corrected, somewhere around there. That is how we kick off our Monday afternoon with you today. Hey, how are you doing? Hopefully you had a great weekend and you managed some rest somewhere in between everything that you had to do. Isn't it crazy that the older we get, the more weekends become administrative? There's always things to do. Weekends are so busy that they almost require their own schedule just to keep on track with everything. But it was the weekend for lovers, and I was out and about in the malls with my tiny lover. Yes, took my tiny lover for Valentine's Day. Yes, we did. And we got to see lovers having a great time and enjoying themselves. It was nice to see the gentlemen all scrambling for last minute, very expensive roses on Valentine's Day, making the pots happen. So hopefully it was a good weekend on your part. We've got lots to catch up on today. We've got a full show today because the Madlanga has adjourned for the day due to some unforeseen developments with the witness F. So we'll find out from Sbahle Mota in a moment around all of that. And then we're going to explore an opinion piece that was written by Luvuyo Maseko, and it's looking at unemployed young South Africans and the fact that they need more social innovation and ingenuity, more than just needing skills. So we'll find out what exactly that speaks to. And there is a call from the South African Agricultural Awards for entries. So we'll give you those details within this first hour. And then on the other side of 2 o'clock, we are going to have another conversation that looks at a campaign with 6 amputee athletes who are now deep into training for the 2026 Cape Epic. And the question is, what's your epic? So we'll find out more from the organization around that. It's 1:15 o'clock. Time for us to take a quick pause, and then we'll come back on the other side with Sbahle Mota.
For 90 years, one voice has informed, challenged, and connected a nation. SAFM, South Africa's national English public radio station. Established in 1936 as the SABC's very first service, the A program, evolving through the English service, Radio South Africa, to SAFM in 1995, shaping thought and strengthening democracy. From a full-spectrum station to a trusted home of news and talk, SAFM continues to lead the conversations 90 years strong. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. You are listening to The Full Circle.
All right, as we get into this week's show, Sbahle Mota, our SABC News reporter, is going to bring us the latest from Madlanga. Day 61, technically it should be today, but we've had an adjournment due to some developments with Witness F. Good afternoon to you, Sbahle. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon to you, Bridget, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for the time. So today is essentially day 61, and we were supposed to see Witness F taking to the stand, but we've had a postponement.
Yes, definitely. So we were really all just surprised by this postponement when Advocate Shackleton, who's the evidence leader at the Madlanga Commission, announced that Witness F had actually been hospitalized and will therefore not be, continuing with his witness testimony at the commission. So what they, decided on is the fact that he will return next month on the last day of the commission. So the commission, I think, is scheduled to sit. Its last day is set to be the 16th of March, and this is when we will hear, the evidence leader continue with his cross-examination of Witness F. So it's yet another waiting game, and it also raised quite a few questions and even commentary from various people who are asking if maybe this is yet another way of Witness F actually saying that he's not really keen on presenting his version of events to the Madlanga Commission. But again, at least we have something from him, but we are anticipating that he will return to the commission on the 16th of March.
We had quite a busy week last week and the week before, and we were debating with the team because this is not Witness F's first appearance, right? They did appear earlier on in the month, although even at that point under duress, really not trying to voluntarily and willingly appear in front of the commission.
No, definitely. If you remember, the first day he presented himself, his attorney had actually asked for a postponement, citing that certain papers that would, be used, or documents rather, that would be used before the commission were handed to them very late. And the fact that Advocate Shackleton and his team had actually said that they'd only need a few, I think 77 pages of that. And he even announced that he'd be heading to the High Court to interdict the WhatsApp messages from being used at the Matlanga Commission. And this is why we saw Witness F presenting himself to the Matlanga Commission for a few days, and then that issue was postponed pending the outcome of the High Court. But last week we also got note of the fact that he withdrew his application to interdict the WhatsApp messages and to actually subsequently appear before the commission, and hence he was compelled to be at the commission today, but unfortunately he couldn't because he's not well. This does raise eyebrows again to say, is he actually willing to present himself before the Matlanga Commission? And also another thing is that I think the most interesting thing is the fact that what's contained in those WhatsApp messages that he possibly is delaying, because on the evidence that he has already said and presented before the Matlanga Commission, it is quite clear that he was the middleman, sort of linking Vusmuzi Matlala with General Shadrack CB and other top police officials. So hopefully he will be feeling much better by the time he presents himself on the 16th of March.
You've just jolted my memories with that WhatsApp messages that he tried to prevent from being presented at the Matlanga Commission, because also Witness F was also the same witness that was represented by the attorney whom, from our observations, and I make no allegations here, just saying from our observations as the general public watching, got a sense that there really was some kind of strategy that they were deploying with the witness to delay and derail the commission, because even his representation, Jiggy, at some point during the course of the day, suddenly was talking about hunger pangs and having not eaten the whole day, and then the day had to be adjourned.
Yeah, it was quite dramatic. I think both the appearance before the Matlanga Commission was just filled with so much drama and possibly even theatrics, because I think his legal counsel tried by all means to not let Witness F appear before the commission. But we also have very experienced and, quite devoted commissioners and evidence leaders who would not simply, allow that to happen without a valid reason. So, from the onset, when Witness F presented himself before the commission, we saw his legal counsel even applying for him to testify in partial camera. And it was quite strange, because these are people who have been implicated and subsequently subpoenaed to appear before the Matlanga Commission. So it seems like it's yet another delay tactic. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt and to say that he is not feeling well, because initially they had requested the commission to appear before us on the 25th of February. But obviously, because of the scheduling matter and the fact that the commission needs to wrap up and prepare the second report, they don't have the time, and hence why they actually had to fit him in on the 16th of March. So we shall see if he does indeed present himself on the 16th of March before the Matlanga Commission.
Just for us to know if we also have clarity, because there's so many witnesses that have come before the Matlanga Commission and so many names that have been mentioned, it's easy for us now to get a bit confused, myself even included. This is not the Witness F is not the witness that we saw, or the individual that we saw in that video footage with the exchange of the money bags.
You know what? Right now, judging from what his defense counsel had said, this is the person that we are talking about, because this is what the defense counsel had actually said, that right now my client has been, recommended to be one of the people investigated by the commission and recommended to President Cyril Ramaphosa. And he made also mention of this white paper bag, and we were able to sort of piece everything together. But due to what the commission had ordered is that he can't be named. He also, his face cannot be shown because of the sensitivity of his testimony. So, there has been a lot of speculation to say this is the person that is being, is testifying before the commission. So that is what a lot of us are under that impression, to say this is him, this is the link between General Shadrack Sibiya and Katiso Katie Molefe, because he walked into Katie Molefe's house empty-handed and walked out with a white paper bag, which even General Dumsani Kumalo had made a joke and alluded to the fact that he's very sure that bag does not have chocolates, so he's alluding to something else. So we are suspecting that this may be the person, but the commission had ordered that we can't name him, nor can he be identified.
All right. And what say you of the suspended Deputy National Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya? He's expected to appear at the commission this Wednesday.
Definitely. I think we are all looking forward to Wednesday because of sort of the questions that will be posed to him and his side of the story, and just to hear his side of the story. But he is expected, and as you know, he's one of the main central figures who has been implicated in the Matlanga Commission, or rather with these corruption allegations. And this is somebody that General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has spoken out so strongly against. Everybody knows how General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi feels about General Shadrack Sibiya, and we've even heard General Shadrack Sibiya even alluding other things at the ad hoc committee about General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. So it will be quite interesting, and I get the sense that because of the commissioner's expertise as well as the expertise from the evidence leaders, it's bound to be, bombshell after bombshell and a very hard cross-examination, because we know once those evidence leaders start asking those questions, they seem to run circles around people, which make it very hard for them to not sort of reveal the truth to the public.
Somebody was tweeting the other day around these unsung heroes of the commission. Of course, we know the evidence leaders and we know the commissioners, but the investigators of this commission, because it's been interesting what they've managed to uncover in such a short space of time. The ability in all of that work, the forensic work and everything else, in order to bring us those dossiers that are literally front to back filled with hard evidence.
No, definitely. And I suppose that the sort of investigations, luckily for them, have been quite narrowed, so they know who to really pinpoint where the allegations stem from, and they may even have some of the assistance from prior investigations or even complaints that have been labeled. So they've definitely done a great job. But I mean, as we know, it's the very disappointing thing about the Matlanga Commission in a way is just it makes recommendations, and there is that, sort of anxiety and displeasure from the public to say, I mean, what then do we do with these recommendations if people are not going to end up in jail, and even with this interim report where the main implicated person was really not named in it. So the investigators are doing such a great job, but again, the outcomes of the Matlanga recommendations can make it what the public would ultimately like, but it's not easy at the end of the day. Yeah.
So 16th of March, you say, is the day for phase 2?
It seems like it. So what is? I think we should gain more clarity, because remember, we are under phase 2, and we are still heading to phase 3 again. So the question that has really arisen, Bridget, is the fact that will phase 3 now come in while we have phase 2 as well? Because remember, General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is still supposed to return to the commission. I think even General Fani Masemola, Brown Mogoti is still supposed to present himself before the commission to finish his testimony. So I think there's a lot of confusion as to how that is all going to be done. And the police minister, again, has to present himself. So there is definitely some sort of a time crunch. But I think with time, it will be revealed as to how these witnesses are being lined up, because the main witnesses who have been implicated or suspects have been implicated in this are taking about 3 days to complete their testimony. So we are really under, really tremendous time pressure, or rather the commissioners as well as the evidence leader is under very, tight time pressure.
Absolutely. I think it was still appropriate for you to use we, because in this particular instance, all South Africans are invested and they'd like to see this done thoroughly and to the letter of the law, but in the most timiest manner, so that we can actually see what then happens after that. By way of, any follow-up criminal charges, any cases that must be presented by the NPA, etc., etc. Smahle Mota, we appreciate the time with you today. So I guess we'll play it by ear to see whether or not we have a commission that is sitting tomorrow.
No, we're not expected to sit at all tomorrow, so we are only returning back on Wednesday at 9:30 a.m.
All right. Thank you for that. That was Smahle Mota, SABC News reporter. You heard it for yourself. The commission will only be back on Wednesday, so please let us not begin the show tomorrow with you shouting at us and saying that we're not taking you to the commission, because there just won't be a commission to take you to. That's one thing that you must keep in mind. We're going to take a quick one for the headline news, and then we'll come back on the other side.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, a 75-year-old man and a 52-year-old woman have briefly appeared in the Otoran Magistrate Court in the Little Karoo in connection with the alleged assault of 2 children. One of the 4 people accused of killing a Limpopo Department of Education circuit manager has pleaded guilty to all charges in the Polokwane High Court, and suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya is expected to appear before the Madlanga Commission on Wednesday. The commission was postponed this morning after witness F was hospitalized. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
The Gauteng Provincial Legislature is your provincial parliament, working daily to strengthen democracy and ensure that the voices of Gauteng's people are heard. As the lawmaking and oversight body of the province, the legislature holds government departments accountable, monitors service delivery, and promotes ethical, transparent governance that puts communities first. Through public participation programs, oversight visits, and platforms that bring citizens closer to decision-making, the legislature empowers residents to influence policies that affect their lives. By driving accountability, responsiveness, and openness, the GPL remains committed to building a government that delivers for all. The Gauteng Provincial Legislature. Your view, our vision.
Wherever you are in the world, SAFM 104 to 107 is accessible. We're also streaming live on Facebook, X, and YouTube at SAFM Radio. We acknowledge and appreciate everyone tuning in and watching our streams. Stay with SAFM 104 to 107 as we bring you Commission Live, breaking stories, and thought-provoking lectures. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Bridget Masinga, weekdays on The Full Circle.
Shame, I always forget to remind everybody that we live stream, except for when I just talk about what you could possibly be seeing on the live stream. It's probably because I'm a reluctant subject. But anyway, Luvuyo Maseko joins us now, project manager for the Bertha Center. And we're looking at this opinion piece titled, Unemployed Young South Africans Need More Than Skills. We Need Social Innovation and Ingenuity. And it's on the back of a research paper that was released by Bertha Center titled Youth Development Innovation Review. How are you doing this afternoon, Luvuyo?
I'm doing well. Happy Monday. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. And thank you for the time. Just a brief context around the Bertha Center and the kind of work and research that you're preoccupied with.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Hi to the listeners on lunch. I come from an organization called the Bertha Center, full name Bertha Center for Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And we're at a UCT, specialized unit that works to support organizations looking to create social impact. But the less academic way, the way I like to explain it is, we are interested in doing social impact work in a way that also support the people at the heart of social impact and look to include the marginalized. So it's not only what we do, it's how we do it as well.
Yeah.
And we've been looking to support young people over the last few years, which has brought us to you.
Let's talk a little bit about, some of the research paper, the Youth Development Innovation Review, and how that speaks to the piece that you wrote.
Yeah, so it started with us trying to understand what South African social innovation looks like, or rather, what it is in South Africa that is around challenging and meeting social needs and issues in a more justice implied way. And the key thing that we tried to look at was to develop a framework that organizations could learn and adopt within their own practice. And we did that by interviewing and engaging with organizations. We initially mapped about 1,000 organizations. There's about 200,000 organizations operating in the NGO space, and all of them are looking to support some area in social impact. And the youth ones, for us, offer us great opportunity to create further work. So it's an attempt to support those organizations who are supporting young people.
In the piece, you argue that skills development alone is insufficient to address youth unemployment. And oftentimes the conversation around high youth unemployment is framed against skills mismatch. You say that matters, but that we are oversimplifying a far more complex reality.
Indeed. I also feel like when we focus, to use a somewhat easy to understand analogy, and I'm not a builder, so my apologies to engineers, but you don't start by building with the roof. You have to focus your programs and your work on the human being, on the young person at the program. Focused on supporting them holistically, and then you provide that competencies or the skill support work that goes hand in hand with that. When you do that as well, you allow young people to better access opportunities, and you allow them to better, in positions where there may not be a lot of opportunities, you help build some of that resilience that is unfortunately required to navigate the everyday life and everyday world. But I think if we only focus on skills, competency, we're forgetting a key piece of the wider system. And the programs that we see work combine skills with holistic support, with biking on a mountain, with yoga, with things that are around focusing on the human being that allow us to unlock some of this potential that we see in young people.
If one was to then sort of advise or cast an ear towards policymakers and how they rethink the dominant skills mismatch narrative, would you obviously lean more towards a holistic approach to policy?
Definitely. One of the things that was actually mentioned in a workshop I attended by someone who I respect greatly, she was talking about how in more developed countries, they're now moving away from tech as part of education and delivery and support, because they're now starting to notice some of the downsides to it. And now we're moving towards it. And what they're realizing is that building competencies or skills or abilities that can be applied across different programs, like communication, teamwork, ability to analyze information, those sort of things. Those things can be applied and better build a young person for the next step. Because then we're just going to be moving from this skills thing to the next skills thing to the next skills thing, and always be in a position where we're trying to address and move responsibly, I think.
Let's touch a little bit as well on this the structural barriers to young people, right? And you look at factors like limited job creation, spatial equality, things like access to capital, which is what a lot of young entrepreneurs often complain about, that really restrict even the most well-qualified of young people. So how should we begin to tackle these systemic barriers and address them simultaneously alongside the skills development and the training programs?
Wow, what a question. That could be a PhD. I think part of what we try and figure out is if we need to try to put young people at the center of some of these solutions. So you articulated some issues that young people are experiencing. So we need to have young people be part of driving these solutions as well. I think in the context of skills development and entrepreneurship funds, young people need money. I think it's important to also talk that rather openly. Young people need capital and support. And I think we need to be looking to do that. And the president and the team within government have identified opportunities there. But I guess we need to start also looking at the wider system that creates so many young people needing to be supported to begin with. Because I feel like some of these solutions are all fixes within. Yeah, let's do this and that, but at the end of the day, young people are going to continue to be marginalized. And if we live in existence in a system that's also around profit and only capital, progression and accumulation, then I don't think we're ever going to solve these problems, because these things are solutions within it as opposed to fixing the wider issue. I'm touching on many issues here, but I hope that makes a little bit of sense.
Absolutely. Just on a final note, in our last minute as we wrap up and close the conversation, in the piece you also make strong suggestion that government, private sector and civil society all have a significant role to play. And how would we, or what mechanisms could then ensure accountability and measurable impact from these three, especially if there was real collaboration?
So I think it starts with getting everyone around the table. So in other places, maybe coming out of other think tanks in other parts of the world, they're calling this type of work called collective impact, which is the idea of getting these different groups together. And the key part of that is getting everyone around the table. It sounds simple, but last year we had a Y20 arm that forms part of the G20. The Y20 committee didn't submit anything for the final resolution because they thought that it wouldn't, that it was just more of a talk shop and there wasn't real action or guarantees around what was going to be put forward in the resolution. So there you go. We can't even really get around the same table. So innovations and next futuristic things are really good. Let's try to get around the table first.
Absolutely.
And then create a common understanding of what the issues are, and then work from there.
You just disappointed me there about that lack of submission from the Y20 after all the conversations leading up to the G20 that we had with them. Luvuyo Maseko, thank you so much for the conversation. Luvuyo is the project manager for the Bertha Center. 22 o'clock, a quick pause, and then we come back and we talk agricultural awards.
This is Dula Sizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief.
One of our listeners listening to this conversation is calling you out and saying Selby is being untruthful. The city takes on average 5 days to respond to reports of burst meter or pipes, and you need to be following up too many times for them to respond.
And Tula, that person is correct, because I, for one, get people who say to me, we have reported this matter 2 months ago, and once it is escalated to me, I give to my colleagues. Some of my colleagues even ignore me when I tell them this. And then I go directly to the mayor, and when the mayor tells them to do it, they do it. So yes, some of these problems are self-inflicted. Some communities do inform us of this, and we don't respond.
That's Selby Bukaba, spokesperson of the city of Tshwane there.
Big stories of the day on the Morning Brief.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365, Craig call 2024, fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
All right, let's get straight to it. It's going to be a short but sweet one. If you are in the agricultural sector, and funny enough, we just saw the headlines around the outbreak of foot and mouth disease, the worst one that this country has seen in a while. We're talking to Ayanda Mnguni, who's the general manager for South African Agricultural Awards, and they have a call to entry. It's a national platform that recognizes and celebrates excellence across South Africa's agricultural value chain. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Well,
Good,
not the
good,
picture
good.
of like a farmer or farmer adjacent that we'd see.
We're trying to change the image of the agricultural sector. You know, we're trying to make this thing fashionable,
yes,
and approachable for everybody. So yes,
this is it.
This is it.
Young and sexy. I love it.
Thank you.
Talk to us about the South African Agricultural Awards.
So this is an awards program or ceremony by the industry for the industry.
Okay.
What we're trying to do is celebrate excellence within this field. Very exciting. You know, we want people to know that this is a space that is celebrated, can be celebrated, should be celebrated, and there's so much more in the value chain of agriculture.
Yeah.
So that is the core business of these awards. We want people from all walks of life to enter and get celebrated.
You know, weirdly enough, when I think agricultural awards, I think farming. I don't know. It's probably because in my mind, I'm a secret cattle farmer. I literally think livestock,
Yes.
but it's not limited to livestock.
It's not. So we're looking at the entire value chain, you know. So you've got the crops, you've got the small stock, the people that just have the chickens and, you know, the small animals, and you've got the big ones, the ones that you just mentioned. There's also the other side of it, which is called agri-processing. Now, what do we do with those products that we get from the ones that I've just mentioned?
Yeah.
Right. So typically, what do you do with wool? You know, that process. When you get your smoothie, you know, all the juicing that we're doing now to take care of ourselves, all of that forms part of the other part of the business, right? There's also things that people are doing like body lotions. People are doing that. So we want to celebrate that, right? There's also the culinary sector, you know, that heavily relies on the agricultural sector. We want to celebrate those people as well. So you'll see with our categories, we've done a lot. There's 27 of them, and we're trying to cover the entire value chain of agriculture.
All right. I mean, sounds exciting. So who exactly then can enter? Because it's such a broad, what is the criteria?
So each category has its own criteria.
Okay.
Like I said in the beginning, we want people from all walks of life to be able to enter. And we've done that intentionally, right? Because farming is not just about the big, large-scale farming, right? You also have people that participate on a small scale. People that do spinach and provide spinach to the local creche and things like that. People that teach young children, you know, how to farm. We want those people in there as well, because we want the skill of agriculture to grow. We want that transfer of skill, you know, from the older generation to the younger people. Because like you say, a lot of people look at agriculture as just that other dusty thing, you know, and it can be glamorous, you know, it can be glamorous. There's lots of money to be made here. And those are the things that we want people to be able to know and plug themselves, you know. The value chain is vast.
Yeah.
So go back to your question, who can enter? Everybody. We've got different ways that different types of evidence that people can submit, because people come from different walks of life and people learn differently, right? People express themselves differently. So on our website, when providing evidence, people can either submit documentation, meaning you can write out your story. There's people who are not able to read or write, right? Those people can submit a video. You know, there's people who are better off with pictures and those types of things. They can do that as well. So in the different languages as well, I would encourage somebody to not only say, oh, but I can't speak English, but you're out there doing the Lord's work on the field, right? You're out there giving people life. So we will translate if we have to. So people from all walks of life, please enter, no matter how big or small you are.
I love that. I love the inclusivity of it all, because I also think it speaks to the crux
of agriculture, from the small nyana subsidiary all the way through. It really just is about everybody for everybody. How does the entries work? How do the applications? What is the base fundamental that we must all have?
Okay,
A farm.
So yes, I think that's critical. First one, we do need abantu that are in the business, right? So we've got a category for influencers. That's a separate one. But for people that want to enter, we really need somebody that has a farm or has a business within this agricultural sector. Very important, because we will come and we will verify that. So you can't just take somebody else's thing.
I can't lie.
No, please
and
don't.
say John's farm is mine.
Yeah, listen. Don't do that. So yeah, we will come through and verify, but that would be the base of it. And then to enter, please go onto our website. It is South African Agricultural Awards. You go there. Everything is laid out quite simply. Once you go on there, there's a competition tab. You go on there. There's categories. Each one has got all of the information. If you scroll down, there's also a PDF document. The PDF document then will give like more detail in terms of each category. There are criteria that the adjudicators are going to look at, and it's all on that PDF document. So when submitting your evidence, please answer each one of the criteria, because then that way you are going to ensure that you become a nominee of the category. Very simple. You can enter for more than one category if you feel that you are suitable like that. You can do that, but please just ensure that you complete each nomination for each category, finish that, submit, and then move on to the next one.
Awesome. As we run out of time, when do entries close? And people always want to know, except for the bragging rights of saying that, I'm the dopest chicken farmer.
Yes. So bragging rights are the thing, but we will be announcing everything in segments. I think what we're wanting to do now is really focus on the nomination, focus on people telling us about themselves, because people make the mistake of saying, I've got chickens, and send a picture. So we were really trying to hone in on people giving us evidence, and people need to be comfortable talking about themselves and talking about their business. And that is important. That storytelling part of it is important. Your story is important. And that is what we want to drive through. We will be announcing the date of the awards, the big ceremony, and where it's going to be, because last year we were in Durban. We're moving provinces this year. So the big announcement is coming. If everybody can look out for us on all of our socials, and hopefully we'll be back here as well with all the good news.
Yes, we'll keep track on this. When do people have to get those entries in? What's the final date for the entry forms?
March. I want to say March because we are doing this run now. We're available on all platforms to answer all questions in terms of what people need to submit, when to submit, and all of that. And then closer to the time, we'll do a countdown on when we are closing, so that everybody's aware. But I would implore people, please do not leave it until the last minute. Yes.
Awesome stuff. Ayanda Mnguni, thank you so much for the time. General Manager of the South African Agricultural Awards. You heard it. She was concise. She was very clear and gave you all the information that you require. So it doesn't matter how small you are. It doesn't matter if you think you fit the awards or not. Log on to their website, follow them on their social media platforms, go have a look at the criteria, because she says most likely there is a category there for you somewhere. It is the South African Agricultural Awards, and they are calling on you to enter. It's gone 10 to 2 o'clock. A quick pause, and then we come back with our next guest.
As we celebrate 90 years of existence, SAFM takes you back to the voices that shaped a nation.
Now leave the SABC and see the tower block lit up, 27 stories of light. Move from Auckland Park into the shadow of the Hillbrow Post Office Tower.
This is the English service of the SABC. Here is the news, read by Patricia Carr. A member of the Planning Committee of the President's Council, Mr. Nick Tuernicht, has been appointed chairman of the Council's Community Relations Community.
90 years of trusted voices. This is SAFM. Koketso Sachane on SAFM.
Is this the last of
what we see as action against John Steenhuisen moving forward, or should we anticipate something post-April after the FedEx Council?
So after the FedEx Council, what we must look out for is his Harvard moment. Remember, what happens to somebody who has been the leader of a party? If you are there after an election of a new leader, then it means there's a power apart from the center that must hold the party together that is looming in the periphery, countering whatever message that the leader is putting out. And so when you're thinking just about the optics of having a leader as a loose cannon inside the party, you even see the influence of Helen Zille inside the party when thinking about John Steenhuisen and his leadership. Everybody had doubted every single decision that he takes.
The meeting point. You are listening to The Full Circle.
All right, the show keeps going. We're going to be looking at When Archives Speak. This is an immersive exhibition that's bringing Southern African histories to life. This is Stages, Pages, Screens and More.
Stages, pages, screens and more on The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga.
All right, let's catch up with Lauren Fletcher now, Audiovisual Project Manager at the French Institute of South Africa. And we're looking at Future Past, When Archive Speaks. It's an immersive exhibition that's bringing Southern African histories to life. How are you doing this afternoon, Lauren?
Hi, Bridget. I'm doing very well and so happy to be here with you.
Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. So talk to us about Futures Past. You say it's amplifying memory with immersive technologies.
Absolutely. So Futures Past is a 2-year large-scale project focusing on archives and immersive arts, run by the French Embassy of South Africa, Lesotho, and Malawi, with the French Institute of South Africa, as well as Electric South, with funding from the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And we're really excited about this project, Bridget, because there are 3 different elements to it. The first one is a large-scale research project across those 3 countries, looking at immersive arts in those countries. Who is doing what are the potentials, and how we can grow the industry across those 3 spaces. The second element, which is what I'm excited to speak to you about today, is a 6-part exhibition phase where we are doing a large-scale exhibition in Lesotho, Malawi, and then 4 in South Africa, pairing archives with immersive artist teams to create large-scale works that are working with immersive arts centered in local histories, heritages, and cultures. And then the last phase of this project is we are sending 20 people to France, with us being the French Institute. And those will be representatives from the archives that we're working with, some of the creative producers on the creative teams, and they will be connecting with French producers, with French cultural centers that are working with immersive arts as well, in the hope of creating projects across our 4 countries.
A very, very interesting project and rather, I guess, big in the sense of its own scale and undertaking. When we talk immersive arts, Lauren, for our listeners that aren't familiar, perhaps give us some context so that we better understand, particularly how stage 2 of this project comes together, the 6-part exhibition.
Absolutely. It can be a bit of a tricky one to understand if you're not working in the field. But essentially, what immersive arts means is it's more than your traditional artworks or films or videos. These are experiences where you are fully immersed in an environment. So your body becomes very important in the experience of the artwork. So to give you some examples that you have some concrete underpinnings to that, we have a team working in Lesotho with the Royal Archives, so looking at the histories of the kings and the queens and the impact that they had on the country. And they are creating a virtual reality experience. So what that might mean is when you go into the exhibition, you put on a VR headset sunset, and your world disappears and you get fully transported into, for example, the 1600s, and you might see one of the kings walking over the mountain and telling you their story. And then you look behind you and there's another king telling their story. So it's like, it's pulling you into that space in a way that a lot of people haven't experienced before. Or another example, we have a creative team working with the Kwatu Salmon Cultural Center in the Western Cape. If you haven't been to that center before, highly recommend you go. It's a beautiful space with important histories that a lot of us don't often access. And that creative team is working with projection mapping. So what that could mean is when you walk into the exhibition space, you don't just see a sort of standard screen on your wall showing you a film, but they will be projecting animation and stories over every surface in that room. So the ceiling might have light and animations, the floor will have a story being told, every single wall surface will have light and activity and beautiful stories that are centered in the San history. Or one more example for now, in Malawi, we are working with the Music Crossroads Project, which is an excellent music school. And they have this archive of local folk songs and tales from across the different regions of Malawi. And that creative team is looking at how to work with motion-activated sensors in the exhibition space. So that could mean that when you walk into the exhibition, as you walk into different spaces, your body is activating the songs, the musical instruments. So without your body in that space, that work wouldn't exist. So it's pairing that like deep history with current day innovation, so that you don't just sort of read about the history or look at the archives, but that you are emotionally and physically embedded into these stories and these histories.
Absolutely. I mean, it sounds absolutely exciting. Parts of me would love to get out to Lesotho and experience their histories in 4D tech innovation. We'll have to leave it there for today, Lauren, but I get the feeling we'll be chatting again. And this project is running from July all the way through to March. Closer to the time of the exhibition's opening, we'll schedule another conversation. That was Lauren Fletcher, audiovisual project manager at the French Institute of South Africa, and they've teamed up to bring you futures past when the archives speak. And as you've heard, it's an immersive technologies-filled collaboration between the French Institute and, of course, brought to you by the French Ministry for Europe and Foreign Affairs, spanning across South Africa, Lesotho, and Malawi. 2:00, it's time for us to catch up with Ondelambana. She's coming through with the top of the hour news.
Thank you, Bridget. On the top stories, suspects in the assault of 2 children appear in court, and Commissioner Sibiya to appear before the Madlanga Commission. For SFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good day. A 75-year-old man and a 52-year-old woman have briefly appeared in the Otswan Magistrate Court and the Little Karoo in connection with the alleged assault of 2 children. The case has sparked public outrage after a video of the incident circulated widely on social media. Images showed injuries to one of the children, who was allegedly also shot with a paintball gun. The pair faces charges of assault with intent to do grievous bodily harm. The matter has been postponed to the 23rd of February for a formal bail application. Both accused remain in custody. One of the 4 people accused of killing a Limpopo Department of Education circuit manager has pleaded guilty to all charges in the Polokwane High Court. Hlulukhelo Mokgotlane has pleaded guilty of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and robbery with aggravating circumstances. Dr. Malekutu Mhlape was shot multiple times in December 2023. Suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrach Sibia is expected to appear before the Madlanga Commission on Wednesday. The commission was postponed this morning after Witness F was hospitalized. Witness F and other witnesses have linked Lieutenant General Shadrach Sibia to attempted murder accused for Simusi Ket Matlala. Evidence leader Matthew Cheskelson presented the application for postponement before the commission.
Witness F has been hospitalized and is not available today. There is an application for postponement. The medical certificate on the last page of that application, Annexure I-2, records that Witness F will not be available at least until 25th February. And the earliest available date that we have after 25th February would be 16th March.
Local farmers in the Eastern Cape are calling for an accelerated sourcing and distribution of foot and mouth vaccine as they count their losses from the outbreak, which has been declared a national disaster. The farmers fear that reliance on vaccines produced solely by the Agricultural Research Council might slow down the pace with which the vaccines come to their regions. Mhlobombane is a member of African Farmers Association of South Africa.
We are already panicking. Definitely now we'll have to fork out a lot of money buying vaccines whilst we're still waiting for government to actually supply. Now there's a supply or manufacturing that is happening in the ARC, although it's not something that is actually huge. So we are worried about the capacity until government actually engage to sit down and have a clear plan on how we're going to do it, the monitoring.
Indonesia says it's preparing to send 1,000 troops to Gaza by early April for possible deployment in a proposed multinational peacekeeping force. Indonesia would be the first country to formally commit troops to the security mission, a key part of U.S. President Donald Trump's ceasefire plan. The BBC's Electra Naismith reports.
Indonesia is the world's biggest Muslim nation, and it believes that as such it should help to stabilise Gaza. The army says a total of 8,000 troops will be ready for deployment by June. The final go-ahead will come from the Indonesian president. The foreign ministry says any role by Indonesia in Gaza will be strictly humanitarian. Jakarta has no formal diplomatic ties with Israel because of the Palestinian conflict. The government says military participation in Gaza should not be interpreted as a normalising of political relations.
Recapping the top story, a 75-year-old man and a 52-year-old woman have briefly appeared in the Alton Magistrate Court and the Little Karoo in connection with the alleged assault of 2 children. I'm Mondilambana for SFM News Headlines at 2:30.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM. When music meets nature, something unforgettable happens. Symphony by the Water, a world-class live music experience set against the breathtaking beauty of Midmar Dam, featuring the KZN Philharmonic Orchestra, Spogazi, the Black Labels, Saturday, the 7th of March, 2026. Day tickets from $150. Evening tickets from $350. Tickets available at WebTicket and Pick and Pay. Symphony by the Waters, where sound flows.
Are you looking for the best spectacle and sunglass deal? With Specsavers buy one get one offer, you get great value for money. Get a free pair of branded single vision prescription sunglasses up to 3,300 Rand when you purchase a comprehensive eye examination and spectacle frames with lenses on your first pair. The best part? Choose from top brands like Police, Hugo, Under Armour, Tommy Hilfiger, Red Bull Spect and more. Affordable eye care? Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
Eskom is upgrading old electricity meters with modern smart meters, giving you clarity, control and confidence. And with your new meter, you'll be able to see your usage in real time, giving you the power to manage your electricity with ease. Smart meters are accurate and help Eskom respond faster to issues. So please allow their authorized installers access to install in your new meter. For more information, visit the Eskom website. Eskom, redefining for a better future.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
In my people's quest for true freedom,
pray that we unmask ourselves from everything that allows us to love. Because love is true freedom. And that's where our freedom is.
Painting a picture with every word that I bring to you, singing the color of you. 'Cause you know this, love in the music, love is the message I bring to you. Love is the color of you.
The day, it's a day, Open your eyes so you can see what I'm facing. Hoping you find that you were free like a mason. Hoping you find that you will sink like a basin. Frozen in time so you redeem those chasing the cause. Freedom fighters, those saving the soul. Reading writers, those taking the fall for your nation. The poor, their numbers when you're raking the morgues. Draw a line, man, we're breaking the law. Sometimes stand still. Watching the government attend tales with warlords came to kill. FX later, man, we get the bill. The taxpayer, man, they gave Brazil. So we ask questions about the name, the shame, and the pain we feel. And it's unfortunate, the same in every country on this continent. The same that makes us angry at the consequence. It's just them burning lanes. Steve Biko in a turning grave. We see a hero who just can't save. We're feeling lethal in the baddest way. 'Cause love is the color of you.
Painting a picture with every word that I bring to you, singing the color of you. 'Cause you know this, love in the music, love is the message I bring to you. Love is the color of you. Every song that I sing is a portrait of freedom that love can bring. And with every melody, you should see that the color of this love is a reflection of you.
Open your eyes so you can see the sacrifice that your forefathers did to cushion you like pillow fights. Hoping you find that you will need a pen to write how sacred define us of. I think we lost our minds when they told the line. The Philistines too fresh than ass last and the break your spine too fresh against blast when you take a time and choose chance and no advancement. And my assessment is I would need truth for clarity like a CAT scan. I'm going insane, mad confusion. I'm losing my way, whatever road we're choosing. A product of rage and optical illusion. Everything I do is just a cue, just to get me boozing. Give me your heart to get me feeling human. To receive that freedom from sky. To redeem what we're feeling inside. 'Cause fear is just a demon alive. I shit here, but I'm keeping alive. 'Cause love is a color of you. And that's true.
Painting a picture with every word that I bring to you, singing the color of you. 'Cause you know this, love in the music, love is a message I bring to you. Love is a color of you. Love is just a color
You know, when you work with younger people, I don't want to say young people, younger, very important the use of English. Because when you say young, then you inevitably suggest that you are old. So, you know, when you say younger, it makes it very clear that, yes, there is an age differentiator between us, but there's not an old person in the room. Younger people are so problematic because we played the song by Unotende and Gabomu, Color of You, which is a wonderful R&B South African classic. And ngiyambuza because let me just test her waters. Ngiyambuza, do you know these people? My younger technician today confidently goes, no, and I don't even know the song. Then she proceeds to say, the only old people I know are Brenda Fassie and Yvonne Chaka Chaka and Whitney Houston. Mind you, Gabo and Notende are far from being that generation. I cannot with this youth. Anyway, it is 10 past 2 o'clock on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, on SAFM. leading the conversations that move the nation. And one such conversation today, we are asking, what's your epic, which gathers momentum as amputee riders prepare for the 2026 Cape Epic movement, which is a right, really, and not a privilege. And we're talking to the managing director. Is it Osur, South Africa? We are talking to Bridget Knutze, and you will let me know the pronunciation of that organization. And Travis Warwick Oliver, who's the founder of Rejuvenate South Africa, and adaptive athlete who transforms his own amputation into a mission to help others. Good afternoon to you both. Bridget, let me start with you. How are you? Oh, we lost the Bridget. Okay, let's go to Travis. Travis, good afternoon to you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, and yourself?
I'm great. Thank you so much for taking the time. Perhaps some context around Rejuvenate South Africa.
Yeah, so Rejuvenate South Africa is a non-profit organization. We started roughly 4 years ago, and our goal mission is to provide mobility aids and uplift people with disabilities in rural communities here in KZN.
And am I to assume that the organization was founded, after your own circumstance? And perhaps if you can give me just your personal story and your personal history.
Yeah, so after a motorbike accident just before the lockdown, actually, I went through 8 surgeries in about 11 months and eventually decided that I needed to have my leg amputated. And after having my leg amputated and seeing the cost involved in getting mobile again and not having much support from my medical aid or government funding, I did a little raffle and I raised enough money to buy my first 2 legs. And I had a conversation with my prophetess, and I just said, like, how is it possible for people who aren't privileged like myself to afford these things and get mobile and have access to the mobility aids that we need? And the long story came down to that they just cannot. And that's where Rejuvenate South Africa was born.
An incredible initiative indeed. And of course, we're going to talk about how that plugs into the Cape Epic. Bridget Knutze joins us now. We're back on the line, Managing Director of ORSA South Africa. How are you doing this afternoon?
Hi, Bridget. No, doing very well. Thank you. As was to be expected, we had some technological issues aside.
No problems, no worries at all. It does happen. We've got some context around Rejuvenate, perhaps the same for ORSA South Africa?
Yeah, so ORSA South Africa is a manufacturer and supplier of prosthetic and orthotic components in the industry, and something that's very close to our heart is that we'd like to consider ourselves to be a patient-centric company, and one of our key philosophies is to improve people's mobility and to help people live a life without limitations. And when we're confronted with amputees in the community that don't always have access to the resources, equipment, it's something that lies very close to our hearts. And if we can make a difference in the environment and help people remove obstacles and remove barriers and get the support they need, it's something that we'll always jump on. And I think this campaign is something that stemmed from that belief that mobility is a right, it's not a privilege. And unfortunately, we see it way too often out there that people that have the most need don't have access to this. And if we can provide some recourse to that, we'll definitely jump at the opportunity.
As we explore that conversation around mobility being a fundamental right, because it speaks to so many other things around one's ability to have a full lived experience. How does Jumping Kids, Rejuvenate SA, and Zimela then begin to come together in order to make a difference in this conversation around accessibility?
Bridget, we've partnered with these 3 wonderful NPOs now over the last couple of years, and each one of them, they operate in a specific field. So if we look at Jumping Kids, they're predominantly in the north of the country. They look after kids, but it's not just about providing them with prosthesis and mobility aids. It's about getting them through school. It's about equipping them for life. I think Rejuvenate in the Midlands, where Travis and his team they do the same. They look at kids holistically. Zumele, that's predominantly Cape Town based, also look at amputees and people with limb difference and disabilities, how to get them mobile, how to get them access, and how to reintegrate them back into the environment, into the working environment. And each one of these three organizations play a pivotal role in helping people get back, and for lack of a better word, back on their feet. It's helping people get back into society to showcase that people with disabilities, people with limb loss or limb difference, don't have to hide away. You have a right to be out there. You have a right to be seen. You have a right to be mobile. This shouldn't be something that comes at massive personal cost. You shouldn't be hidden. You have an amazing life to live and an amazing story to tell, and that's what we're trying to showcase through this. So we're trying to support these NPOs to broaden their scope, broaden their network, and help as many people as possible get that access to mobility.
Travis, your story, is different, but also similar to so many other folks, because obviously you started off as a able-bodied person, and then due to an accident, you had limb loss, a term that I'm now becoming aware of today. I can imagine, or trying to imagine, not that I can, but trying to imagine perhaps the emotional and mental process that you went through in those initial stages, those first couple of months, having to make that decision and then come to a point of acceptance. And ultimately, how do you begin to then see your life wholly and fully once again, and just assuming perhaps that there was a moment where maybe you could have felt that life will never be the same as it used to be?
Yeah, so it was really difficult. I've got a twin brother, and myself and my twin have been super competitive our entire life, and we grew up very competitive towards ourselves and everyone else. And yeah, after the accident, I went from 120% kind of guy to lying in bed all day, and it took a massive mental toll on me, my family, my friends, and my relationship. And yeah, it was a lot of me time, and I had to do a lot of thinking, and it eventually got down to that I didn't like the way that my life was turning out, and I wanted to live a better life. So I started reaching out to other amputees, and that's why I also advise people who are in a similar position to what I was in, is to reach out to us, get hold of us on our socials, reach out to OSA, and talk to people, because if I didn't talk to the special amputees that I spoke to, I wouldn't be in the position that I am in today. And they opened my eyes up and showed me what was possible with the right mobility aids. And that kind of just gave me the confidence to go in and have the amputation. It wasn't just me waking up one day and deciding that I'm getting my leg amputated. I had to see a psychologist. I had to go on a strict diet. There was a lot of things that I had to do before the amputation happened. But looking back now, on the 25th of February this month, it's been 5 years since I had my amputation, and I wouldn't take it back if I had to.
I mean, that's a powerful message in itself, because I think it speaks to perhaps a realization or an awakening that there is life after amputation, and perhaps life just as full, just as rich, just as robust, albeit it will be challenging in the sense of trying to figure out the mechanics around that.
Yeah, listen, it's not an easy life to live, but it is better than what I was doing, and I feel that anything is possible. I'm an amputee, and I don't limit myself to anything. I do believe that I am capable of doing whatever I set my mind to, and everyone else can live by this too. And, a lot of people look at us crazy amputees now, us 6 entering the Cape Epic, and think that you have to ride the Cape Epic to be an active amputee, and that's certainly not the case. We're encouraging people just to get up and get moving. It doesn't have to be these massive long races, although they are really cool. We just want to get people moving and just show that, anything is possible.
Absolutely. A wonderful segue there, Bluchnote, to bring us to this campaign. What's Your Epic? Tell us a bit more about it.
So the What's Your Epic campaign actually started 2 years ago, when we had the idea of showcasing what is possible, but not just showcasing what is possible, but also inspiring people to overcome their obstacles. So the Watch Your Epic is kind of a play on words. So if you look at mountain climbing, everyone has that Everest. They have that mountain that they want to overcome. And we use the vehicle of the Absa Cape Epic to say, what's your epic? What is your Everest? What's your epic moment that you want to overcome? We want people to start talking about those seemingly insurmountable obstacles in their life. If you look at the Cape Epic, it is the toughest mountain bike race in the world. It is grueling. And if 6 amputees can do it, what's your excuse? If your obstacle is getting up and walking your dog, playing with your kids, just going to the bathroom unassisted. And for us, that might sound like something that's just run-of-the-mill, but for some amputees or some people with limb difference, that is an insurmountable obstacle. So we want to ask them, what is your epic moment? What is your epic obstacle that you need to overcome? And to showcase that you're not alone in this. And as Travis mentioned, reach out to other amputees, talk about their experiences. There's a community out there far bigger than you think. And these guys will inspire you to do more, to overcome those obstacles and to really showcase what you can do. But you don't have to do it alone. And what we want you to realize is that there is support out there, support from NPOs like Zimele, Jumping Kids, Rejuvenate, really giving back to the community, support from family members, support from other amputees. And we want to encourage people to showcase that they are amazing human beings. We don't have to wrap amputees in bubble wrap or cotton wool and say, listen, you guys are fragile, we need to keep you out, we need to keep you safe. These guys are more resilient than we can ever imagine. And we want to show that if they can do it, so can you.
Absolutely.
And you can overcome your obstacle.
And that brings us to the call to South Africans, corporates and communities alike. How would you envision seeing people involved in this initiative, in this campaign, be it by supporting it, be it by amplifying it, just the different avenues of us plugging in?
Well, first and foremost, we want to raise as much as possible funds for these NPOs to really enable them to broaden their reach and help as many people. Unfortunately, mobility aids and mobility devices are not free. Some of them are very expensive. And as much as we as a corporate can help to an extent, we're only limited to what we can do. And if the community jumps in and starts donating or contributing in any way, whether it's 10 Rand, 50 Rand, or whatever they can afford, this will enable those NPOs to do even more. Follow our socials. Go on to Instagram, OSSAZA. There's links to each of the NPOs. There's links to donations. There's links how you can get involved. So we encourage everyone to please go on, support, even if it's just a like, a share. You never know who sees it and who might want to get involved in the future.
Travis, for you, I mean, you sound like, before the accident, you were a adventurous, spirited guy. And of course, you found your way back there. How has cycling and sport helped rebuild those parts of you that may have seemed lost at some point in time, even speaking to confidence, perhaps, after the limb loss?
Yeah, so I'm not a cyclist. I'm actually a runner. And Blicky's approached me and asked if I'd like to join the Watch Your Epic campaign last year. So I jumped on a bicycle and I just absolutely fell in love with it. I feel like other than swimming, jumping on a bicycle is probably one of the easiest sports you can do as an amputee, just because you don't have so much impact on your stump, and you don't need a specific running leg for cycling. You can just use the leg that you walk around in every day. But yeah, cycling for me is just a really great sport. I'm thrilled to be back doing these things. There is a bit of a confession. I am a lot more active now as an amputee than I was before I was an amputee. But yeah, I'm just really happy to be moving again, and I'm just super grateful for all these opportunities that I'm now getting to prove what is possible and to raise funds for our charities and to get other people mobile and active. And just to touch on what Blicky said, with following us and liking our journey and our story, is you can go and follow OSSA South Africa if you search them on Instagram, or it's at OSSURZA. and you can see all our links there and follow our stories. We will be uploading daily updates on those pages, and yeah, you can just like and share and contribute.
I mean, if it's the toughest mountain bike challenge in the world, then I assume it takes some kind of mental strength and focus to be able to do this. I don't think I'll be able to do it, because if the bike is not bolted down at spinning, I'm not trying to take those tumbles on the road. So how do you prepare for something like that?
Yeah, well, first you have to physically prepare. All six of us have been training really hard. We were fortunate enough to go to the APSA training camp in Karkloof all together as a team. And then, yeah, it's just, you just have to prepare yourself for being on the bicycle for 7 to 8 hours every day.
Sure.
And it's not an easy task. That's why it is the hardest race in the world. But I feel like we're all strong enough. We've all been through so much in our lives before that this is just another obstacle that we need to overcome. We're super lucky that we've got such a great team. We all chat, we share tips. Each one of us has a different solution for a different problem that occurs, because being an amputee does come with a lot more niggly things that can happen on the bicycle. But we're just super lucky to have the team together and everyone's chatting, and just keen to get to the start line now. I think everyone's getting ants in their pants. The training is starting to taper off a bit now.
Yeah.
So we've got a month to go, and we're going to be at the start of the APSA Cape Epic.
Wonderful stuff. Gentlemen, thank you so much for the time. We'll be cheering you on from the sidelines. That was Knut Knutse, Managing Director of ORSA South Africa. You can find them on social media if you search them on Instagram. And Travis Warwick-Oliver, founder of Rejuvenate SA. No doubt also he is on social media. You can track the journey for What's Your Epic as they prepare for the Cape Town Epic, which is happening from the 15th until the 22nd of March. And then just in general as well, just tracking everything that they are working with their respective NPOs and how you can plug into that. It's approaching 2:30. In fact, it's just a matter of seconds before we get into the headline news. But let me remind you about this, by the way, because someone just asked me on WhatsApp if there's still time. So there's still time, just a matter of days left, because we are beginning to listen to all of those voice notes that you've been sending us. So if you want to win that 5,000 Rand hamper, remember Dr. Judy, who's our resident Skin Deep biomedical scientist who comes in every other Tuesday, is giving you a biomedical emporium skincare hamper valued at 5,000 Rand each, to 2 couples, but I can tell you now she's packed it with too many goodies, so it will be valued at far more than 5,000 Rand. And all you have to do is send us a voice note on 061-410-4107, because every love story is unique. We want to know how you met. How did you meet your significant other, your partner, the love of your life, Tambolakole Kentucky, and what has kept you going? What has kept the two of you, together and going strong after all the years or the months or maybe the days? Some people fall in love within 48 hours and, you never know. So send it to us on WhatsApp. 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line. Ondelambane is standing by with the headlines.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, the TRC Cases Inquiry has heard a scathing attack on former President Thabo Mbeki on the 4th day of public hearings at the TRC Cases Inquiry in Newtown, Johannesburg. Police in the Northern Cape are offering a 75,000 Rand reward for information that leads to a 14-year-old teenager who disappeared a year ago being found. And British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is considering making a significant increase in defence spending. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Hurry! Get supersized savings at Spar for 4 days only. Get 2 litre Spar sunflower oil for $64.99. Save 15 Rand. Or 10 kg Spar Super Maize Meal for $74.99. Save 25 Rand. Price is valid from 13 till 16 February. While stocks last. Max 5 deals per product per customer. Only at Spar. T's and C's apply.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
As we celebrate 90 years of existence, SAFM takes you back to the voices that shaped a nation.
Tolani Gwala will be back again for you 6 to 9 Monday here on SAFM.
And
thanks, Tolani. Good morning and welcome to Morning Talk with me, Kim Gabadeli.
The name is Bongi Kwala. Good to be with you till midday today. Let's engage South Africa.
Welcome to Morning Talk on SAFM, South Africa's news and information leader, with me, Rowena Bird.
90 years of trusted voices. This is SAFM.
The South African State Theatre presents Bitoa di Drama, an enchanting stage adaptation by Fanny Viljoen, a powerful story of identity, imagination and courage, blending drama with magical realism. Perfect for learners, families and educators. And it's showing at the Arena Theatre from the 16th of February to the 7th of March. Tickets are 150 Rand and you can book now via web tickets.
You are listening to The Full Circle. This program is brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello friends and happy Monday. Welcome to another exciting episode of Kids Corner. It's a brand new week and a fresh start to do our best at home and at school. Which chore do you enjoy the most and why? What makes it fun or satisfying for you? Is there a chore you are still learning to do better? What do you think would help you improve? How do you think helping at home makes your parents or guardians feel? Do you think it makes the home happier and more peaceful? Why do you think it's important for children to help with chores and be responsible at home? Alright friends, let's hear from some of our friends while you share your answers with the people next to you.
My name is Pembe. I'm 11 years old. I'm good at vacuuming the floors and organizing my room. I also help with folding laundry. I enjoy organizing my room the most because I like making my space neat and finding new ways to arrange my things. I'm still learning to cook simple meals. I'm getting better, but I still need a little guidance sometimes. Helping at home makes my parents feel relieved and appreciated. It shows them that I care about our home and family. It's important for the children to assist with chores because it teaches us life skills and responsibility. Helping out makes us feel part of the family and shows that we can contribute to taking care of our home. Thank you.
Greetings, my name is Praises Ziva. Today I'll be talking about the importance of helping do the house chores. The house chores that I'm good at doing at home mostly is washing the dishes, and I think it is the easiest. And the chore that I enjoy doing the most is sweeping and mopping, because I feel for the house to look sparkly and shining, the floor should be clean and shiny. It makes home feel safer, cleaner, and a place any person would want to be. It is important for children to help with chores because you never know, your parents might leave you one day or you may move out, which you have to do the chores alone.
My name is Ashley Kabamba. At home, I'm good at helping with chores like washing dishes, cleaning my room, and especially cooking. The chore I enjoy the most is cooking because I love preparing meals and seeing everyone enjoy the food I made. It makes me feel proud and responsible. There are still some things I'm learning to do better, like trying new recipes or improving my timing in the kitchen, but I'm getting better with practice. Helping at home makes parents or guardians feel supported and appreciated. I think it's important for children to help with chores because it teaches independence, teamwork, and important life skills we will need in the future.
My name is Birwe Sangenju. The chores I am good at doing at home are unpacking the dishwasher, cleaning my bedroom, and cleaning the bathroom. I enjoy cleaning the bathroom the most because I've always wanted to learn how to. so that my mother wouldn't have to do it any longer, and because for me, it is really fun. Helping at home makes my parents feel happy, because as I get older, I am finally helping out more and slightly lessening their load of doing a lot. It's important for children to help with chores because doing chores helps lessen the load of all the work their parents do, and it helps prepare them for the future and to be more independent.
Good day, my name and surname is Apele Mpembe and I am 8 years old. The chores that I am good at doing at home, I'm good at making my bed, feeding our pets, and I also help with setting the table for meals. I enjoy feeding our pet the most because I love spending time with him and making sure he's happy. I'm still learning how to wash the dishes better. Sometimes I miss a spot, but I'm getting better and better with practice. Helping at home makes my parents feel proud and happy because they know I'm being responsible and caring. It's important for children to help with chores because it teaches us responsibility and helping us learn how to take care of ourselves and our homes. Plus, it makes everyone feel like they're part of the team. Thank you.
A good day to you all. My name is Lorraine and thank you so much for listening to the Kids Radio Show today. The chores I'm good at doing at home is sweeping outside, washing socks, and cleaning up shoes. One of my favorite chores to do every single day actually is to sweep outside alone. Yes, there is a chore that I'm still learning to do better, which is washing dishes more efficiently and making them clean. How helping with chores at home makes my parents feel, it makes them feel very appreciative, especially, and thankful that they have a daughter who knows how to do chores. Why it's very important for children to help with chores, it helps them to have a sense of responsibility in their lives. For example, you don't want to be hiring servants all the time because some of those servants will steal your money. So that's why it's very important to learn how to do chores. Thank you so much for listening to me today and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Alanda Mzabe. I am 12 years old. Chores I'm good at doing at home are washing dishes and cleaning the floor. The chore I enjoy doing the most is washing dishes because it does not take a lot of time than other chores. There is nothing I'm learning to do better, but I wish I could learn how to cook. I think helping at home makes your parents feel more loved and lucky to have you. It is important for children to help with chores at home so that you can be helpful in your life and grow up like that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, friends. It's always great to hear from you. And to our friends listening, I hope you also shared your answers with the people next to you. Helping with chores at home is an important way for children to show responsibility and care for their families. Chores such as making the bed, washing dishes, sweeping, tidying up, folding clothes, or helping prepare meals may seem small, but they play a big role in keeping our home organized and peaceful. When we as children discover chores that we're good at, it builds confidence and independence. Some may enjoy cleaning because they like neat places, while others enjoy helping in the kitchen or organizing their room. Every chore completed teaches discipline, patience, and attention to detail. There may also be chores that are still being learned. That is part of growing up. Learning new responsibilities take practice, and each attempt builds skill and maturity. Making mistakes while learning is normal and helps us as children become more capable over time. Helping at home makes parents and guardians feel supported, proud, and appreciated. It shows that we understand that our home is a shared space where everyone plays a part. When we contribute as children, it reduces stress for adults and strengthens family teamwork. Doing chores also teaches important life skills. It prepares children for the future by helping them understand responsibility, time management, and cooperation. These habits build character and create a sense of pride in completing tasks well. Helping at home is more than just completing a task. It is about respect and being part of a team. When we take responsibilities for chores, we grow into dependable, caring individuals who understand the value of working together. Every small effort at home builds strong habits that last a long time. That's it for today, friends. See you next time.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives. SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365. Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za. The Morning Brief.
What it led to the withdrawal of this critical service that services something in the region of 238,000 pupils across Gauteng.
The reason why we've withdrawn our services is because of non-payment. Service providers have had basically to carry government for over 16 months. As a consequence, people have to obtain funding, obtain loans, and the net impact of that, the accumulative loans and everything else has brought people to a point where they are now making a loss. They are not able to obtain further loans because banks are no longer trusting our people to be able to sustain those loans because every time we've got excuses, we cannot pay.
That's Paul Zikali, Gauteng School Bus Operators Council Secretary.
This is Dula Sizwe Simelane on The Morning Brief. For 90 years, one voice has informed, challenged, and connected a nation. SAFM, South Africa's national English public radio station. Established in 1936 as the SABC's very first service, the A program, evolving through the English service, Radio South Africa, to SAFM in 1995, shaping thought and strengthening democracy. From a full-spectrum station to a trusted home of news and talk, SAFM continues to lead the conversations 90 years strong. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. As the nation seeks answers, SAFM brings you live, uninterrupted coverage of Parliament's Ad Hoc Committee investigating allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. You can also stay up to date with the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into Criminality, Political Interference and Corruption in the Criminal Justice System. Stay informed, stay connected. Tune in live on SAFM 104 to 107 and follow the coverage across our digital platforms live on Facebook, X and YouTube at SAFM Radio. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This is Dula Sizwe Simelane on The Morning Brief.
One of our listeners listening to this conversation is calling you out and saying Selby is being untruthful. The city takes on average 5 days to respond to reports of burst meter or pipes, and you need to be following up too many times for them to respond.
And Tula, that person is correct because I, for one, get people who say to me, we have reported this matter 2 months ago, and once it is escalated to me, I give to my colleagues. Some of my colleagues even ignore me when I tell them this. And then I go directly to the mayor, and when the mayor tells them to do it, they do it. So yes, some of these problems are self-inflicted. Some communities do inform us of leaks, and we don't respond.
That's Selby Bukaba, spokesperson of the city of Tshwane there.
Big stories of the day on the Morning Brief. You are listening to The Full Circle.
All right, we were trying to buy some time for our next guest. We're supposed to be in conversation with the living legends Maralo and Sipho Hot Sticks Mabuse, but we're struggling to get a hold of Hot Sticks, and Maralo was supposed to actually be coming into studio. So one of my team members has gone upstairs to fetch her, but it's quite the long trek. It's the long journey from reception to where we are at the moment. I think sometimes people underestimate how big the SABC buildings are, both TV Park and Radio Park. They really, really are big. And so the other thing also that causes a lot of deception is when people do interviews at like private radio and then SABC. Private radio, yonkintila. You park here, you go up one floor, ungena 4-way, ungena kwi studio. You know, it's less than 50 steps and you are there. And there's no security checks. So if you're running late, you just quickly bypass yonke leyo nto. Whereas here at the National Key Point, guningi that must happen, and then you must trek from the reception all the way to where we are, and it's a bit of a long walk. It takes a good 5-7 minutes, if you're youthful and agile. So it can take a little bit longer if you're just walking at leisure. So we were trying to buy a little bit of time. Let me just remind you, by the way, about our Valentine's Day competition, how you met your loved one. Feel free to send us those voice notes on 0614104107. Dr. Judy Pretorius is giving you a biomedical skincare hamper valued at 5,000 Rand to 2 couples. And all you have to do is send us a voice note of how you met. It can be a bit of a mid-cute. It can be a bit of an awkward situation. Perhaps it was a bit of embarrassing, or maybe you just met the person at your local Builders, and there was nothing spectacular about it. But that is the spectacular part in the story, because who meets the love of their life at an aisle trying to buy some nails and some wood? But it does happen. 0614104107 is our WhatsApp line. Let's take a quick pause, and then hopefully we'll have our guests either physically here or on the phone to have this conversation.
Wherever you are in the world, SAFM 104 to 107 is accessible. We're also streaming live on Facebook, X, and YouTube at SAFM Radio. We acknowledge and appreciate everyone tuning in and watching our streams. Stay with SAFM 104 to 107 as we bring you commission live, breaking stories, and thought-provoking lectures. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Need your production executed professionally, on time, and within budget? SABC Technology delivers. From live broadcasts to pre-recorded and streamed content across all major platforms. We handle post-production, editing, audio final mix, and graphics, all with state-of-the-art technology. Looking for radio or television outside broadcasting, or a fully equipped studio or auditorium to bring your big idea to life? We've got you covered. SABC Technology, your trusted service provider. Contact us today at bookings@sabcfacilities.co.za.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion, because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours, and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. Easy to apply, no medical examinations, and no paperwork. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's 48031. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Koketso Sachane on SAFM.
Not so national importance announcement by John Steenhuisen.
We are all important to ourselves. Like, when you come and tell us,
if you have to come and give me an announcement, I must believe that that announcement is important to you and it's important to the people around your circle because they themselves are losing a political figure, right? It's of national importance in and around your neighborhood, and I think that's what he meant.
On a serious note, though, what do you make of what's happening?
I think it was almost inevitable, right? Because when you listen to war strategists, they'll tell you never fight a war on two fronts. And in this case, John Steenhuisen was fighting a war on three fronts, right?
The Meeting Point, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. For 90 years, one voice has informed, challenged, and connected a nation. SAFM, South Africa's national English public radio station. Established in 1936 as the SABC's very first service, the A program, evolving through the English service, Radio South Africa, to SAFM in 1995, shaping thought and strengthening democracy. From a full-spectrum station to a trusted home of news and talk, SAFM continues to lead the conversations 90 years strong. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
All right, the living legend is in the house with just 6 minutes to spare. Mamaralo joins us, singer, songwriter, actress, co-producer of the Unity Concert 2026. I mean, okay, let's at least take a minute to just find out. How are you, Fabulous?
I'm fabulous.
You look fabulous. I mean...
I am well. Although I'm walking with a stick.
Yes.
Because I had a hip replacement.
Oh, no.
So I don't know about replacement. I won't call it a person, but
yes.
Let's see if I can work.
Naughty girl. But I mean, hip replacement or not, you're looking great.
Thank you.
The skin is glowing and popping. The diva. You know what I love about your generation? And I used to say this all the time when I get visited by the living legends. I go, you're forever in diva mode, always just representing stardom.
Well, fortunately, I don't even take notice.
Really?
I've just been used to.
Yes.
I've always respected the spaces that I'm going into. That I'm going to be meeting people. I should not arrive there looking like Mbangtope under a bridge somewhere, but it come along. So it's respect for yourselves as well.
I love it. It's second nature. I'm going to chat to you later about the pantyhose because they never miss a moment to wear the pantyhose as well. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't wear this dress without a pantyhose.
I mean, if you say so.
Yeah, no. I mean, I can still show my leg.
Of course, yes. Let's talk about the concert. So you're co-producing the Unity Concert 2026, and you're co-producing it with one of my favorites, even though he did not pick up my phone today, Sipho Hot Sticks Mabuze.
Why didn't he pick up your phone?
I don't know, but don't worry. He and I will get into it.
Okay. Is he going to be... He was supposed to
be here with you. But it's
he's
okay.
Not gonna be
no,
here.
He picks up my phone all the time, so something must have interrupted.
Well, by the way, I went to school with Sipho.
Really?
We're almost same age. He always says he's 6 months or 7 months older than me. And I go, oh, yeah, right. But anyhow, I was hoping to see him here today.
Yes. No stresses. So the concert?
The concert is going to be, I know they say never preempt what's going to happen. But I strongly believe that it's going to be the biggest event in this country.
Oh, lovely.
Because we are commemorating the 1985 concert in the park.
Oh.
I don't know if you heard about concert in the park.
I was 4.
You were 4 years old. There was a big concert at Ellis Park. There was 120,000 people.
Okay.
Of all nationalities. And by the way, this was during apartheid. But people just went out there and they were holding hands, waving in the air, dancing to music from me, from Sipho Hot Sticks, from Juluka, Johnny Clegg, from you name it. There was fantastic lineup of artists. So 40 years later, myself and Sipho and Clive Hardwick decided to do a commemoration of that concert.
Oh.
And this time, not do it where we held it before. We're going to do it at Gas, Orlando Stadium.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. Okay.
Yes.
So this is happening, when is this? June?
The concert is on the 14th of June.
14th of June?
Yes.
Okay, we are all going out to Orlando.
You're coming to Orlando, baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you bringing together whomever is still blessed to be alive from the 1985 concert?
Absolutely. Recently we did a launch of the concert, and there was PJ Powers who was there with Hotline.
Oh.
Those years.
Yeah.
Before she became,
PJ Powers.
PJ Powers. But she was, I can't remember, but she was there with Hotline. And unfortunately, Juluka, I'm sure I cannot give you the list of artists yet. I'm not allowed to do, even as a producer.
Okay.
Because, they say until you put your
Of
signature on the paper, I could. Me and Sipho, yes, we're definitely going to be there. We're producing the show this time. We're not just performers.
Lovely. Okay, so what we're going to do, because it's a long time between now and June, and our time for today is up. But between now and June, we're going to catch up with the two of you again.
As a belief.
Yeah. No, we'll catch up with the two of you again.
Yes.
We'll have you all in studio, and then, because there's a nice conversation to be had there about that original concert number 1, everything that you guys were going through, the performances and that whole experience.
Yeah.
And then also just reflecting on the last couple of years and how we find ourselves in this moment. So you owe us.
Yes, we owe us. And you also should reciprocate by helping us build the momentum.
Absolutely.
For this concert.
That's why I'm saying you're coming back.
Absolutely.
You'll be back.
I wish Sipho was here. We went to school together.
Listen, I'm his favorite baby girl outside of his own daughters. So I know that he was held up by something far more important.
Okay.
Yes, he never misses an opportunity, so I know.
Yes.
We'll have you back in studio, but for now we're going to diarize 14th of June, 2026 at Orlando Stadium. Going to the heart of Soweto for the Unity concert. And of course, it's being produced by the legends themselves, Maralo and Sipho Hot Sticks Mabuze. They'll be back together here in studio. We'll have a nice afternoon with them.
Yes.
We'll go down memory lane.
Yes.
We'll open up the lines and we'll talk more about the Unity concert.
Thank you very much.
And at that time, you'll also be able to tell me who else is going to be on the lineup.
I think so.
Yeah, no, you will be able to. I know so.
Yes. Well, we owe you that.
No, you don't owe me a thing, but I know you'll be able to.
And
do that.
I must say that we appreciate the honor and privilege of being invited to come and talk to you and talking to the people listening out there and say, be ready, 14th of June.
Tata, we're not dinosaurs. That is where we leave.
And by the way, the lineup of artists is not just going to be the elders who perform then.
Yes.
Obviously, we've got to be the ones that are passing the torch to the younger generation.
Of course.
So we cannot hog the stage. We've got to give the younger generation
But you gave
the
us
space.
a hint already. Me, I'm a dinosaur. So anytime anyone says, I know exactly what you're saying. That is where we leave it for today. We'll be back again with you tomorrow. Ashraf is coming through 3 o'clock on the dot. Onde Lambane is standing by with the headline news.
Thank you, Bridget, and the team on the top stories. Linda Xasheka placed on full suspension and a scathing attack on former President Thabo Mbeki. For SFM News, I'm Ondelamban, and a very good afternoon. The Ekurhuleni Head of Legal Services, Kemi Bihari, and Head of Human Resources, Linda Xasheka, have been placed on full suspension. Ekurhuleni Mayor Nkosindipile Xhakaza says the suspensions form part of the city's ongoing program of strengthening governance systems, reinforcing accountability, and restoring administrative integrity. Bihari and Xasheka were implicated in the Madlanga Commission in Pretoria